when he first bought it, his sewer was still running right into the river.
Yeah.
You could flush the toilet and walk out the window and watch it empty right into the...
Ew.
When I first bought that house down there, I had it for about 6 months, and that spring I started getting sewage in my cellar.
Yeah.
And come to find out, what had happened is when they went on the sewer line, they didn't hook that one up. They just put rocks in where the pipe went into the river, so it couldn't go anywhere. So it just backed up the pipe
Yes.
and went in there. So I had to have Flume come down and dug me out,
Dig it out.
and then I hooked up, and it was fine after that.
Some of the things they did back then.
Oh yeah. I could tell you that story about, I went to that guy's trailer, this
Nice
woman
and
had
wide,
a trailer, which, I mean, you can put your foot in the living room, one in the kitchen.
Right.
Sitting on the flush in the bathroom. It was just, and his kerosene furnace is gone, so he took a box stove, wood stove, stuck a pipe right through the wall, put tinfoil around it. I went in there and he was dumping motor oil into that, and I was just licking them varnish sealants. I said, well, we gotta get going. What do you got here? I just remember we gotta do something. So you get about, that catches on fire, you get about 2 minutes to get out alive. They did stuff like that back then. I don't know how they got by with it.
Good, how are you?
Yeah.
Tim, just so you know, I'm gonna be abstaining from the 112,
Okay.
obviously.
No, vote it down.
Yeah.
Vote it in.
This season.
All right. Whoop. Little thing here. And I did actually max on that. Everybody's here. All right, welcome everyone to the Wednesday, November 6, 2019 meeting of the Pittsfield Town Council. I ask that we all please rise to the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I would like to ask if we could have a moment of silence. Thank you. All right, so the first item on the agenda this evening is the adoption of minutes of the regular meeting held on October 15th, 2019. I look for a motion from the council.
Move we adopt the minutes as presented?
Do I have a
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments? Anybody see anything that needs to be changed? Or questions? No? And I apologize, I could not attend that last meeting, and I want to thank Council Donahue for taking my place. Thank you for stepping into the last minute, it's appreciated.
You don't have to wear your floaties anymore.
Yes. Yes. I was afraid I was going to get fined for not having the right boating permit before I get out of there, so I figured I better take care of it.
You would have had a lot of rain if you had.
It's horrible. Anyway, thank you, Heather. Not hearing any objections, not hearing any changes or anything, I'll look for, we did the motions, so I would say, ready to vote. All those in favor of the adoption of the minutes of the regular meeting held on October 15, 2019 is presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, and the minutes are adopted. Next is presentations, congratulations, and introductions.
Yes, very good. For our presentation, congratulations, and introductions, the first item is presentation by the town manager on town goals and achievements. And this is a document that is in the budget books and out for the public, available every year, talking about the achievements of the departments in the current year, which is 2019, and then the goals for 2020. These are the achievements and accomplishments that the departments are the proudest of, so they're the ones that they have submitted, and the goals and the items that they want to see. So I normally go through and just pick out a few, because evidently you can read the whole document for yourself, but this gives the public and you all some of the items that people are very interested in. So on the 2019 department accomplishments, copies are out on the table, and they're also in, a copy is in the council package as well as in your budget book. And so let's see, the 2019 department accomplishments under cemetery, repaired and straightened 15 stones at Village Cemetery. That is no easy feat. Let's look at finance, received the town's 17th unqualified audit. Looking at highway, replaced culverts at various locations, removed high shoulders, cleaned or replaced culverts in preparation of the 2019 road paving program, which is a great accomplishment, and a lot of work was done. For the library, participated in the bicentennial festivities by hosting a time capsule throughout the winter and having the grand opening of the capsule in front of the library. Also presenting a fall community read program centered around Sanger Cook's book, Pittsfield on the Sebastopol. For the police department, plan to hire a new officer, ACO, and a detective has been added onto that. Recycling center, successfully marketed all recycling commodities due to the high quality product produced. Other communities that want a single stream are definitely paying over $100 per ton to get rid of their recyclables. And the town of Pittsfield is averaging selling our materials for $60 a ton, which saves thousands of dollars in taxpayers' money. And you have a copy each month when we do the reconciliation for the month that shows the netting out of the cost and the revenues. For the theater, effectively reduced expenditures at the Pittsfield Community Theater after the budget was reduced, and they cut it down a little bit more for 2020 for consideration. For the transfer station, police the disposal of MSW, more aggressively diverting metals and other materials from being disposed of in the compactor. It's so easy when people have things mixed together, just throw it in. But we try to help people take out the items that they can get out that could be diverted. This allows the town to earn more revenue instead of paying tipping fees, which is definitely a good thing. When we go on to the 2020 department goals, for administration, we have promote community betterment programs, projects, and revitalization efforts, including new enhancements at downtown park system, downtown sidewalk project, which includes a proposed project around the municipal building, revitalization of the theater, and other projects. For animal control, to work on a plan to get a used vehicle for the ACO to pick up animals. For the clerk, to implement a new filing system for contracts, leases, bonds, and other important town documents. For the codes enforcement and building inspection, to obtain or create more effective checklists and plan review documents from UBEC, which is the main uniform building energy code, which some of us don't like, but it is implemented on the town as well as many other towns. For economic and community development, to focus on downtown revitalization. For the fire department, to provide advanced training for those who want to advance, and then to pay a little incentive in the stipend that's paid for going to the calls. Highway department to cut and remove more roadside brush at new locations and maintain the roadsides previously completed. Library to develop more programs in partnership with the Town Recreation Theater and other community organizations, which would be absolutely wonderful. For the police to create a part-time evidence technician position. Recycling to continue to look for new innovative recycling markets and try to expand the ability to generate revenue and divert materials from being landfilled. For the theater to enhance revenues through increased shows and productions, something that's definitely needed. More revenue is needed. To implement a new fee structure for the transfer station at the facility to dispose of certain types of high-priced waste. This would be for all contractors and residents to dispose of certain materials. The hope is to save individuals money instead of passing costs on to everyone or subsidizing the costs or operations. And so those are just a few of the many pages of achievements and goals, and that document is available online, as it has been from the beginning of the budget process, available here at the town office and in the council packages. So quickly to go on to community and economic development activities. I'm going to mention just briefly that we are working on the Small Business Saturday project, in which we would involve the theater for donations if people went to the small businesses or any of the businesses that were participating. So we'll be working on that steadily. And a new development, which I think might be a very interesting item. I was really pleased to see that the program still exists. We've talked about how to help out local businesses with town money, something that's very hard to do because we usually apply for the grants for the businesses and don't utilize taxpayer dollars for the businesses, although some businesses would like that to have the money come from the town so they feel they're part of the town. And so I did learn the town of Herman had a great economic development program that we set up in the 1990s, and that was a program in which the town provided a certain amount of money for the interest rate, so that the interest rate might be, let's say, 7%, and then it could be subsidized, that brought down to 2%. So the businesses would get a subsidized, a low interest rate at the bank. The town would pay the difference in what the bank would have charged versus the rate that was actually set. So this is something that is affordable for the town rather than providing the loan money. So the bank is professional, knows exactly what they're doing, is very experienced, and has the ability to take the risk for the loan. Whereas we know that loan programs for towns generally do not work well, and many of them have been shut down across the state because the towns, lose money. That's very hard to collect, and so the banks are expert at that. So I contacted the bank that now has this project. When it first started out, it was what's called United Bank back in the 90s. They were bought out by Kingfield, and then I left. And the program is still going on and still working according to Herman. Kingfield Bank was purchased by Camden National Bank, which is the bank that did such a good job on our 2019 capital improvement loan. So I have called since then, located the right person, and I will get some information because this might be definitely something that we could do. Now, we don't have a branch of Camden National here. However, they have been so cooperative, I suspect they probably would meet with businesses here and then complete paperwork at their offices. So they were very interested in talking to us further. So that could actually be a business incentive that we could be involved in. And for small businesses, the loans would only be to a certain amount. So I thought that was interesting. So we'll pursue that further. I don't see many towns doing that. That was just something unique that we did in Herman, and it's still continuing on. So we'll explore that further. So everybody should participate and go out on Small Business Saturday, which is November 30th. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. Next is public hearings, old business, of which there are none. So I'll go right down to reports. I'll start with the council. Howard, did you have anything for the bicentennial? Can you hang on a second?
Well,
Pete,
there's a resolution.
can you shut that off for me? Thank
There's a
you.
resolution tonight on the agenda that I'll speak to with that.
Okay.
That's about all.
Okay. Is there any other council committee reports? Did you have anything to add, Heather?
Ordinance committee waiting for things to come from the planning board, and I think we've slated it to deal with it after the budget stuff's done.
Okay. Ordinance committee have any reports this evening?
Finance committee met last Thursday. We went over real quick on the capital improvement project updates and the budget process. We went over the additional capital improvement plan, and we also talked about how we're going to borrow for the capital improvement, whether we can go to the bond bank or go to a bank and get a loan.
Okay. Thank you, Bob. Second committee has no report this evening. So we'll go right down to town manager report.
All right, very good. A number of items this evening. I'll try to be brief because we've got the administrative budgets on the agenda for the workshop. So, number one, we received notification from Time Warner that they have changed their name. So Time Warner Cable Northeast LLC recently changed its name to Spectrum Northeast LLC. So this is just to let you know, the companies just keep getting bigger and bigger here. So there'll just be just a few, well, there are very few left now, there'll be a lot less here. So this is an indirect subsidiary of Charter Communications, which now holds a franchise to operate the cable system in our community. So only a name change, no other changes whatsoever. Very cool. Number two, You may have seen the new kiosk or display board in the municipal parking lot for public notices. So that is in the island by the recycling trailer. That is compliments of Boy Scout Troop number 63, and especially Michael Killian. At long last, we have a new display board for notices, so we can put out information on recycling as well as any other notices, so that would be really good. The Boy Scouts started working on this project a little bit under 2 years from beginning to end. This was Michael's Eagle Scout project. So at the next meeting, we'll process a certificate of thanks at the meeting and invite Michael. So that just got up. It looks very good. We may want to put some stain on it at a certain point, and we will try it out. Number 3, new transfer recycling office is built and ready for delivery. So our transfer station recycling coordinator, Don Shute, reports that the new building structure is complete as we thought it would be by this time. Coordination is taking place to get the building here for a weekend when everybody is available to work on putting it all together. So we will advise you when that weekend will be for public notice, just in case the project does not get completely done in a short period of time, a couple of days here. There will have to be all the electrical, all the controls will need to be changed over and everything hooked up. Number 4 is the budget calendar for 2020. So this evening we've got municipal building, community economic development, insurances, codes and building inspection, general assistance, unclassified expenses, and I also wrote on capital expenses in case you wanted to discuss those, and debt service. So I did add on a couple of others just for public notification. You may or may not want to do them. So the next workshop, as you want to have a meeting each week, the workshop is on November 12th. And so that one is going to be on the additionals. I expect we'll talk about the whole capital improvement plan and budget, a little bit about the debt service and how we're going to pay for all this, instead of just the amounts, but the actual process and everything. And the Finance Committee and I have set up things so that we'll be zipping along here, starting out with some bids that are coming into the next council meeting so we can get additional prices. We have gotten more prices for the capital projects, and then any other items that need to be bid out can be done during February, March, so that we can get some good prices and get companies going, because we'll have the approvals then. Then on 11/19, you'll be setting the budget to public hearing, along with all the motions that are required. The public hearing will be on December 17th. And then on 11/26, you got a very large workshop, which will be communications, police department, fire department, streetlights, airport, library, animal control, public works, buildings and grounds, cemeteries, recreation, theater, community, social services. And there might be a couple of those that you could move up and take care of that do not have department heads, because we want to make sure all the department heads are here. So that's just a basic update for you all and the public on the budget calendar for 2020. Number 5, commercial insurance company. Glatfelder, our current insurance company, which was started, everything's been working out quite smoothly after we got used to sort of the New York City type items. And so everything has been all set, working out well. Now they're changing over, so they're combining with American Alternative Insurance Corporation. That will take place at the next renewal in July 2020. The renewal process will be the same. Our insurance agents think the transfer will be seamless. There are some items that need to be worked on before then. There will be a department head supervisor meeting in January 2020 to work on a comprehensive fleet safety program. We have bits and pieces dealing with the vehicles. However, we need to have a more comprehensive program that will deal with not only the vehicles, but all the equipment that goes out on the road, which is considerable. And so we will need to work on this entire area and put it into a program that will be easier to use for everyone. Number 6, annual notices. The annual notice of our sexual harassment policy and prohibition of sexual harassment in the workplace was distributed to employees with their last paycheck. We staple it on, so that makes sure that everybody gets it. We also distributed a copy of the notice of the Employee Assistance Program. Almost every employee seems to be going through some sort of personal issue, financial issue, and definitely there's a lot of medical issues. So life is stressful now. This is a free program. It's not available just to those that have insurance. It's available to every employee in the town. So an election clerk that works 1 day a year or 2 days a year can call up and utilize this program, and it's free. So this is a free confidential help in which an individual can talk to the Anthem office by phone. They can do it in person or online. Spouses can also participate. So an employee or spouse can have up to 3 counseling visits per issue. So if they had a medical issue or dealing with pain and how to do stretches or however that would be dealt with, that would have 3 free counseling visits. And then if they had financial problems from all of the bills for the medical care, that could have 3 discussions. So this is a great program. It's underutilized throughout the state. So instead of just sending this out a couple of times a year, we're going to send it out 4 times a year and emphasize the fact that, you know, this is free. We have nobody will have any idea that anyone called in. We'll never have any idea how many people called in. It's just something that, you know, helps people deal with grief, pain, divorce, and just everything else that can take place in life. So, number 7, crack sealing at the airport. The crack sealing that was authorized this summer was completed at the apron this weekend. The company that was commissioned with the best pricing is very, very busy across the state of Maine. So crack sealing can take place as long as there's not ice in the cracks. It's a hot product that seals the crack. So this will be year 1 of probably a 3-year project for the town. The runway was crack sealed, but we also need to get to the aprons. And once we get some more important areas fixed, and down the road there'll be an official FAA MDOT crack sealing project. Now this will be in the year 2025. Now Caleb will still be a young man when we get to do this. So at that time, or around that time, the FAA and MDOT are talking about a $350,000 project of crack sealing. So that will be the entire runway. It also will have all the markings. So that we know the amount we spent, we authorized up to $4,400 from the Airport Improvement Reserve. So what we're doing is just taking care of as many places as we can until the big project happens again. And we were very fortunate we had a good project before.
The big $350,000 that the FAA is talking about spending would be a complete seal coat, so they'd go over all the hot top on the. And the guys that came and saw runway the other day when we were there, they said it's in the hot top. They couldn't believe that it's as old as it is. It's really, the contractors did a good job putting down good base for it and stuff, and the runway still looks very good even though it's done.
Right, well, we figure we only got about 30% of it done with what we authorized this year.
Yeah.
And there are some pretty large cracks, so.
Some grass growing up in between the cracks. And, yeah.
The biggest detriment to a paved road is water. And if the water can get in through the crack, that's what's going to make it fail the workers. So, if there was any way possible, should authorize double what we did this year and go forward with pretty much what we spent this year, each and every year to maintain the whole thing. But that's what you decide on.
Yeah, we will do what we can do. Luckily, we've got a good company. The work was high quality, and a multi-year plan will work out really well. Number 8 is Recreation Department Winter Sports 2019-2020 registration. And so we are taking the winter sports activities until Wednesday, November 13th, or people need to be a few days late. I'm sure that will take them. The fees per child are $20 Pittsfield resident, $25 non-resident. For basketball, kindergarten, basketball, first grade, basketball, second grade, girls basketball, third and fourth. Oh boy, wrestling clinics. Okay, I better put that on the insurance policy here. All right, girls basketball, boys basketball for 5th and 6th, 3rd and 4th, boys basketball for 5th and 6th, and cheerleading 2nd through 5th. So there's a form to fill out and a insurance waiver to sign. And so that's very important. Those went out through the school, but we also like to send them out through the town too. Two more items. Number 9 is the property tax relief payment for the homestead exemption. This is the item that came up a few weeks ago, in which there was a lot of confusion everywhere because the media only has like a little tiny clip to explain things, so you can't get all the information that you need. We got an official 2-page letter from the state of Maine explaining out how the program will work, and in a nutshell, anyone who qualified in 2019 for the homestead exemption will qualify for a $100 relief payment to be sent out in January through February 2020. So if somebody qualified and had the exemption on their tax bill on April 1st, 2019, so it'd be on the tax bill they paid in October, they should receive a check. It's $100 to $102. So that will be going out in January to February from the state of Maine. No one needs to sign any further homestead exemption forms. So that was the big question, and the question we've been getting at the town office. And last item is that one of the properties, only one, didn't have any interest for the tax-acquired surplus properties. And so that one will be coming back to the council meeting on November 19th to go out again with what we will consider to be a more enticing low bid on it, or some sort of action plan to deal with that. And that would be the property up on Keenan Road that had the outbuildings from what used to be animal clinic, animal shelter that burned, which people actually said makes the property more valuable now because you just have a farmhouse that's in very good condition. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Next is new business.
Ordinance 19-13 sets a public hearing on 11/19/2019 that the town council hereby ordains to transfer property located at 422 Honeywell Avenue, map 12, lot 66-ON, and map 12, lot 66, to Daniel L. Tozier for the sum of $47,544 as the result of a tax-acquired property bid. The town acquired said property as a result of automatic foreclosure of a 2016 property tax lien recorded in the Somerset County Registry of Deeds on June 20th, 2017 at Book 5169, page 275, and Book 5169, page 274, which matured on December 20th, 2018. The town council further authorizes the town manager to execute a municipal quitclaim deed releasing the town's interest in said property to Daniel L. Tozier.
Look for a motion from the council.
Move we set ordinance 19-13 to public hearing on 11/19.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments from councilors concerning this ordinance? No questions? No comments. Okay. Not hearing, since you're ready to vote, all those in favor of setting ordinance 19-13 to public hearing on 11/19/2019, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, and that ordinance is set to hearing.
Ordinance 19-14 sets a public hearing on 11/19/2019 that the town council hereby ordains to transfer property located at 103 Waverly Street, map 33, lot 41, to Kevin Heath for the sum of $6,000 as the result of a tax-acquired property bid. The town acquired said property as a result of automatic foreclosure of a 2016 property tax lien recorded in the Somerset County Registry of Deeds on June 20th, 2017 at Book 5169, page 307, which matured on December 20th, 2018. The town council further authorizes the town manager to execute a municipal quitclaim deed releasing the town's interest in said property to Kevin Heath.
Look for a motion from the council.
Move set ordinance 19-14 to public hearing on 11/19/2019.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions or comments concerning ordinance 19-14, councilors? No? Okay, not hearing any, I sense you're ready to vote. All those in favor of setting ordinance 19-14 to public hearing on 11/19/2019, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, and that ordinance is set to hearing as well.
Ordinance 19-15 sets a public hearing on 11/19/2019 that the town council hereby ordains to transfer property located at 367 North Main Street,
map 29, lot 23, to Kimberly M. Niles for the sum of $5,000 as the result of a tax-acquired property bid. The town acquired said property as a result of automatic foreclosure of a 2016 property tax lien recorded in the Somerset County Registry of Deeds on June 20th, 2017, at Book 5169, page 310, which matured on December 20th, 2018. The Town Council further authorizes the Town Manager to execute a municipal quitclaim deed releasing the town's interest in said property to Kimberly M. Niles.
Then I'll look for a motion from the council.
Move we set ordinance 19-15 to public hearing on 11/19/2019.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions or comments concerning this ordinance, councilors? No? Okay, not hearing any, since you're ready to vote, all those in favor of setting ordinance 19-15 to public hearing on 11/19/2019, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, and that ordinance is set to hearing.
Ordinance 19-16, set to public hearing on 11/19/2019, that the Town Council hereby ordains to transfer property located at Snake Root Road, map 5, lot 2A, to Glenn F. Wall for the sum of $3,030.30 as the result of a tax-acquired property bid. The town acquired said property as a result of automatic foreclosure of a 2016 property tax lien recorded in the Somerset County Registry of Deeds on June 20th, 2017, at Book 5169, page 190, which matured on December 20th, 2018. The Town Council further authorizes the Town Manager to execute a municipal quitclaim deed releasing the town's interest in said property to Glenn F. Wall.
And I will look for a motion from the council.
Move ordinance 19-16 be set to public hearing on 11/19/2019.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments concerning this ordinance, councilors? No?
Tim?
Yeah.
Yeah, my apologies. Late this afternoon, we heard from Mr. Wall. He is very, very interested in having his son's name added to the quitclaim deed. It's not something we normally do, but I don't see any harm in it. He would like to have his son, Ethan Wall, be added to the quitclaim deed. If we were going to do this, we would do it now. We would not do it at the public hearing. His son's name is spelled E-T-H-A-N Wall. We have a signed statement from him, conversations with 2 employees. He called and he sent an email too. He was very excited to do this.
Okay. So,
We have to amend this,
We have to amend that.
add his name.
yeah,
Make a motion that we amend ordinance 19-16 to add the name Ethan Wall to the quitclaim deed.
Second.
moved and seconded. All those in favor of adding Ethan Wall onto the quitclaim deed, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, and the ordinance has been amended to add Ethan Wall onto the quitclaim deed. All those in favor of ordinance 19-16 to be set to public hearing as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, and Ethan Wall is added to that ordinance and added to the public hearing ordinance on 11/19/2019.
Ordinance 19-17, set to public hearing on 11/19/2019, that the Town Council hereby ordains to transfer property located at 1044 Main Street, map 4, lot 46, to Richard A. Brown and Mary L. Brown for the sum of $13,500 as the result of a tax-acquired property bid. The town acquired said property as a result of automatic foreclosure of a 2016 property tax lien recorded in the Somerset County Registry of Deeds on June 20th, 2017, at Book 5169, page 252, which matured on December 20th, 2018. The Town Council further authorizes the Town Manager to execute a municipal quitclaim deed releasing the town's interest in said property to Richard A. Brown and Mary L. Brown.
Look for a motion from the council.
Move we set ordinance 19-17 to public hearing on 11/19/2019.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments concerning this ordinance, councilors?
Mr. Mayor, I'll be abstaining from vote on this one.
Okay, then. Any other questions or comments concerning this ordinance? Okay, not hearing any, since you're ready to vote, all those with Deputy Mayor abstaining. All those in favor of setting ordinance 19-16, the public hearing on 11/19/2019, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, and that ordinance is set to hearing as well.
Resolution 19-112, resolved that the town council accept the bid of blank in the amount of $1 amount for surplus 2004 Sterling roll-off truck and allocate the funds to blank.
Look for a motion.
I move we adopt resolution 19-112 to accept the bid of Michael Bolster of Burnham, Maine in the amount of $17,500 and allocate the funds to PITT number 13.
Second.
Okay. Questions or comments? Start with the audience. Anyone in the audience have any questions or comments concerning this resolution? No? No questions. All right, councilors, questions or comments concerning this resolution?
I'll be abstaining.
Okay.
So because the amount was large and beyond that of the bid policy, this item comes back to the town council, and because it is a large amount, we talked about when we, not these little $500 or $25 ones, but when we had the large amounts, we would allocate those to the reserve accounts for the department.
Any questions or comments concerning this resolution, councilors?
I really think it's a good idea to plant that seed in the recycling, budget, so that way when we need to, say, replace another truck or a piece of equipment, we've already got that down payment, so to speak, in the rolling along there. I think it's a good idea.
Okay, no other questions or comments? Okay, now I'm hearing any, since you're ready to vote, all those in favor of resolution 19-112 with the bid of Michael Bolster of Burnham, Maine in the amount of $17,500 and to allocate the funds to PITT number 13, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, and resolution passes.
You can take a breath when you're reading, you know.
If you had to read my handwriting, young lady, when the idea pops in your head, you better get it out quick.
Resolution 19-113, resolved that the town council authorize the town manager to execute an easement to the town of Burnham for map 9, lot 15 of the town of Burnham tax maps for the construction of a gravel pad for use as a turnaround.
Look for motion.
Move we adopt resolution 19-113.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments? Audience, anyone in the audience wish to make any comments, questions concerning this resolution? No? Okay, I'll turn it over to councils. Councils, questions or comments concerning this resolution?
This is just a snowplow turnaround, isn't it?
Yes, it's a standard easement, which the town can also utilize it, as long as we don't get in the way of people using it.
Makes sense to me. Any other questions or comments, councils, concerning this? No? Not hearing any, I sense you ready to vote. All those in favor of resolution 19-113, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, resolution passes.
Resolution 19-114, resolved that the town council approve the expenditure of the remaining bicentennial funds at the end of 2019 for the following projects. 1. Historical tour signs and installation project for $2,500. And 2. Vote launch development project for $2,500, both in 2020. And 3. The creation of an account for the remaining funds to be expended for an annual Pittsfield Day celebration.
Look for a motion from the council.
Move we adopt resolution 19-114.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments? Audience, anyone in the audience wish to have any questions or make any comments concerning this resolution? No one in the audience? Okay, I'll turn it over to councilors. Questions or comments? Howard.
This resolution actually The impetus for it came out of the executive council for the committee for the bicentennial project. We had been given authority to have up to $25,000 over 3 years that was leading up to the bicentennial year. There's currently about $10,000 left in the budget. In addition, the committee and the participants in the bicentennial project have raised about $7,500 over the course of the year in selling T-shirts and doodads and stuff like that. The group decided that, wanting to kind of close the book on it, yet build on the impetus that we developed during the year, what really is outstanding there. We planned a historical tour. The tour itself never came off because we hadn't fully developed all the plaques and designation of the sites that was necessary. The first group of sites and plaques was developed in the past several weeks, and they're on Facebook as well as up at Bud's in a poster. And I think they were really well done. They were designed by Barbara De Niro. And she did a really good job, very talented lady. So we've got the plaques, but we don't have the plaques mounted. We don't have them, at the facilities that they're supposed to be at. And there's another group of plaques that was planned to be made as well. So we wanted to designate funds that could kind of complete the first part of the historical tour and development of Pittsfield. So we estimated about $2,500. The boat launch, obviously, because of various rules and regs, were set back a time. I understand that the application has again been completed, and we're waiting to hear. The vast majority of the plans were to be done through donation, and I believe that still will be done, from that perspective. Probably to the tune of about, $18,000 to $20,000, 5 of which have already been given by Kleinschmidt, in development of the plans. So we figured that there would be need for certain signage for the development of an opening type of opening day kind of thing, and plans around that. So we wanted to designate some funds for that. In addition, I thought that we had a great bicentennial day on June 19th. And the committee wished to basically have that the first of be an annual event for Pittsfield, whether it be on the 19th or on the weekend, closest to the 19th, whatever, focused around the Historical Society, historical tours, etc. Development of Pittsfield as a more of a recreational area, which we all feel that is needed at this point. So we wanted to take the other $5,000 and designate it for that. That once we get through the budget and folks or a committee is assigned to it or develops plans for the time around June to develop whether it be a celebration, with field day events, with concert, whatever, I'll leave that to whoever is going to be in charge of that, going forward. But we thought that would be an equitable, distribution of the funds that were remaining. And we wanted to make sure that they were done this year, in this budget, leading to the, to be available for 2020.
Okay, thank you, Howard.
Yep.
Questions, comments concerning this resolution, councilors?
I think this is
It's
excellent.
an excellent idea.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be important too, Howard, in the future that we make sure that we know, because when tax time comes, people are going to want to give donations. You know, may not be huge, $50 here, $40 here, $100 here. I think it's going to be very important that people will know who to seek out and who to give to, because I think you're going to see a lot of that as things progress. I don't know why you wouldn't.
I also believe that, the concept, the concept of volunteerism in Pittsfield has been underrated from the point of view of what gets done by volunteers. I think there's a huge amount of both time and in-kind donations that is given to the town, for many years. It's not just the past year. But being part of the bicentennial event, I've noticed it this past year, much more. So I think that needs to be, not paid back, but I think that what the town does, what the employees of the town do for the town, I think it needs to be recognized as well. So.
And I also believe that that boat launch will get a lot bigger than people realize once it starts. Because there's really, I don't really know too many boat launches around that people are utilizing right now. I think ours would be it. So we kind of corner the market that way as far as, people want to launch a canoe, launch a small boat. I don't know any place where you can do it around here. So I think that will get a lot bigger once it gets going. I really do.
I agree.
With the historic tour, having a map and all of the signs up, with the right advertising, these self-directed tours work really well. There are people who go around to areas and go through several towns, and then they'll stay overnight, go to the restaurants, buy gas, and this is exciting for them.
We plan to have, much like was done for the Civil War, the map that was created for that. We hope to have a similar map done and developed for the historical tour, locating the locations.
Very worthwhile project.
Yes, it's exciting. Good project.
All right, councilors, any questions or comments concerning this resolution? No? Okay, not hearing it, since you're all ready to vote. All those in favor of resolution 19-114, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, resolution passes.
Resolution 19-115, resolve that the town council waive the bid policy and accept the proposal of R.H.R. Smith & Company, CPA of Buxton, in the amount of $10,400 for the municipal water enterprise and sewer enterprise audits, and $2,500 for single audit for grants if required for the audit year of 2019, and approve the firm as the external auditor for the town's 2019 audit.
Look for motion.
Move to adopt resolution 19-115.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments? Anyone in the audience wish to comment on this resolution? Anyone at all? No? Okay, I'll turn it over to council's questions and comments. Yes.
Catherine, is this the same group that we have every year, or is this a different?
Yes, it's the same auditors. We had a different auditor when I came that had been here for like 25 or 26 years. And then we went out to bid. There are very few auditing firms out there. I know there's a couple that are very expensive, and then there's one that's not, but not as thorough. So this firm has worked out really well for the town. We've had the same price from 2008 up to 2018. That's 11 years, which is sort of a miracle. However, GASB, the Governmental Accounting Standards Board requirements have changed, and so we saw some of that with the last audit, and they didn't charge us. There was an extra day that was involved, and we went around and got as much information for the auditors as we could, because we didn't know what the changes were. I have tried to research those now, and I see why there's going to have to be an audit cost. It is like massive amounts of paper and items to do. So this will be interesting, and we'll learn about these new requirements.
Okay, any other questions or comments, councilors, concerning this resolution? No? Not hearing any, I sense you're ready to vote. All those in favor of resolution 19-115, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, and that resolution passes.
Resolution 19-116, resolved that the town council authorize the town manager to execute an amendment to the contract for professional engineering services for the project of environmental permits for the Pittsfield Municipal Airport to include permitting and preliminary design to construct 8-unit T-hangar and apron under the Airport Improvement Program, AIP, project number 3-23-0036-017-2019, between the town of Pittsfield and Hoyle, Tanner and Associates, HDA, after Maine Department of Transportation approval in an amount to not exceed $43,400 for a total contract of $143,400.
Look for a motion from the council.
Move read off resolution 19-116.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments? Audience, anyone in the audience have any questions or comments concerning this resolution? No one? Okay, I'll turn it over to council members. Council, any questions or comments concerning this resolution? Pretty self-explanatory.
Yes, we're very fortunate that we got approved for the additional work that was required by the Department of Environmental Protection on this project. The $100,000 had to be fronted by the town, which is done on any environmental permits now for projects, which makes it very difficult for the different towns and airports to do, but it's a requirement of the FAA. So the $100,000 is fronted by the Pittsfield Economic Expansion Corporation, so it would be great to pay them back. So far, a little bit over $77,000 has been paid out to the engineers for all the steps, and then they will complete all this work. And then I was excited that we started applying for the next project, which is up to $250,000 for the stormwater detention basins and all of the stormwater and underground work that needs to be done at the airport for the hangar project and in the vicinity to straighten out some culvert issues. So that will be the next project next year. You'll see more paperwork on that as we go along.
Yeah, that stormwater plan is a really, really important one because there's a pipe that runs underneath the closed runway, which is right where we're talking about doing. It's actually, hindsight, we're kind of lucky that this hangar development is happening right in that area because they're going to tie that project into the stormwater drain. The next stormwater drain is a big old pipe that's not doing very well and starting to collapse. And if that drain collapses or that culvert collapses, that's where a big section of the town actually, their drains tie into that. And it all, so if that collapsed there, it would affect like a whole part of the town. So it's so we feel pretty lucky that the FAA is going to step in and fix it because it's on airport property. They wouldn't want to do it except for the fact that it's really close to where this project is happening. So otherwise, we'd have to do it ourselves. So got kind of lucky.
Yes.
Every once in a while.
Yes, yes.
Any other questions concerning this resolution, folks, before we vote? No? We're not hearing any, since you're ready to vote. All those in favor of resolution 19-116, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, and that resolution passes. Next is discussion items.
And there are none.
And there are none. So we'll go right to reports, and I'll start with the audience. Anyone in the audience wish to speak this evening? Anyone? Yes, sir.
Do you need me here for anything?
That is a very loaded question. You know,
It is a very loaded question, but I am very uncomfortable right at the moment and I would like to leave.
Yeah,
And it's
sure.
not
Certainly.
Uncomfortable in a personal way, so uncomfortable in a physical way.
Yep, no, we don't, his
No, you
budget
should
isn't
leave, your
tonight, so-
budget's not to the 26th, and if we move it up to another day, we'll let you know, which might happen.
Thank you.
Go home, rest, and don't come to work tomorrow.
It's supposed to snow tomorrow.
She was joking about the last part.
Anyone else in the audience this evening? No? Okay, I'll turn it over to reports, counselors. I will start with Heather.
I think I just have 2 items. Police Chief Bickford notified the council this afternoon that they received a $15,000 grant from the Maine Emergency Management organization for a new cruiser system, for the new cruiser video system and body cameras for the officers. And so that's a pretty significant grant, so we're very happy to have that. The other item that I had that I received notification of today was that the UU Meeting House is going to be closing for a significant portion of time. They're going to be taking on an entire renovation of the lower level, so they won't have restrooms available, so there won't be any services or anything going on there, which includes the welcome table, the turkey supper that you usually have in November. So, if people have questions about that, they can email hollyyzadra@gmail.com, or they can go onto the UU Meeting House website to get details about that and what they're going to be doing for service projects and things like that in the meantime. I think that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Heather. Deb?
I just wanted to congratulate the chief on his $30,000 grant. I think that's kind of a good thing. Thank you, Catherine, for keeping me up to speed on the different things, since I'm not able to get around that much. And I'd also like to thank Catherine for letting me invade her space in the office. I've spent about approximately 200 hours since the beginning of the year in the office doing an efficiency study regarding job descriptions and how work is handed out and what happens if somebody's out. So I appreciate her letting me do that. And lastly, to Howard, I like the idea of a Pittsfield Day. I think that would be really great. And I think a lot could be done besides just the historical tours, too. And that's all I have.
I've learned from experience that it should be not Herman Days or Pittsfield Days, it should be one day,
Yes.
one long day.
All right, thank you, Deb. Howard?
I just have one thing, just to basically reiterate the congrats to the chief regarding the grant for the body cams. And I think it'll be it's just another feather in his cap. I think that he's done a good job of going out and being proactive to get to make the town safer and the police department safer and better trained. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Howard. Matt?
No report this evening, thank you.
Okay. Caleb?
No report. Thank you.
It's all yours, Matt.
I can follow up with these guys. Resolution 19-114, the project, I think that's a great project. I just wish there was more money we could put into it. I think that's a great idea, and it will foster nothing but great rapport in the town, so.
Find another 5 in community development.
From the sale of the collectibles, you may have more than the amount that we've listed. And that's why I put a statement on the agenda sheet, so any of the additional will go
Great.
toward the fund day.
Yeah. I'd like to congratulate Pete and Amanda for their assignment to the Pittsfield Town Council. Look forward to seeing you when they're sitting in this seat. Chief, good job on the grant. Always free money is always good. And Catherine, thank you for your great job upstairs and keeping things running and
No, thank you. I'm
That's all I have.
currently working on a grant that, it was all free money, but now we have to file all the reports.
and that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. I don't have much. Again, congratulations to Amanda and Pete on the election. Congratulations to the chief on getting his grant through. That will help police officers a great deal. And, you know, again, I'll echo what I've said before, you know, the girls upstairs and the town employees and Catherine have done an excellent job. Got through another election, even though it was light this year. You will definitely pay for it next year, I'm sure. That will be a Lollapalooza.
They're already talking about it.
Again, Howard, I'm glad that passed, and I really do honestly. I think that if we let people know how to make the donations, where to go, and that sort of thing as time goes on, I think you're going to see a lot of small in-kind donations from that, because a lot of people utilize that once it's up and going. So it'll just become part of the norm around here eventually. I know that's the plan. So, and Pittsfield Day would be awesome. I don't see any reason why it couldn't happen. And thank you for attending. And I wish the church all the luck in the world. And you know, there's stuff out there. I'm sure that it's going through a thing, but it'll be fine. And other than that, I have no report, and I would look for a motion to, I'm sorry.
I have a question before we adjourn. Do we have like the total results from voting, like the number of people that voted and the school board and all that stuff too? Or?
I put that on the website.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the Facebook page.
Okay.
Early this morning. We're getting better at it.
So other than that, I have no report. So I would look for a motion to adjourn the regular council meeting before we start the budget process.
Will we adjourn?
Do I hear a second? All those in favor of adjournment at this time, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, and the regular meeting is adjourned. And I'm going to recommend that we take 3 minutes to use the restrooms.
Yeah. And we will not turn off the system. We'll learn that one.
Caleb, you may not look any older than 2025, but if you want to buy me some Christmas presents, maple, probably Epidem tablets would be about right. Save them up for me, will you?
You get set.
Thank you.
My pen is a block.
Yeah.
I see Dover's have been issuing in their airport, huh?
Yeah,
Good. It's really good. It's
this
a really
huge
big
push
project.
for solar projects. Right now, there's kind of
Yeah, I talked to
a
Holly about it, the whole thing, and then the
there's
water
a whole bunch of companies are
What's the thing we're
racing.
doing? Want to put a solar place there instead of the airport?
Yeah,
And some families, but some families, they made the land in honor of somebody, a family member that was a pilot or something, or?
yeah. So there was the Chase family, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
They had their
Yeah.
they had their
Very good.
their son or something died there in a plane crash while he was pretending to be like
Yeah.
a flying Santa Claus or something like that. Crashed his plane.
Yeah. Yeah,
Died.
I gave Holly
Then they named the airport
information
after
about
him.
the Belvedere Foundation.
And
have
they
grants for
gave it to
people
the
who
town, gave the
have
land to the
PV
town.
uses, so that falls right into
You know,
it.
if they didn't do it, they would have turned into
Yeah.
the
Stop it from being used.
Yep,
for something
yeah,
else. They
she's
just
gonna
gave
look
the
into
land.
it, so I'm sure
Thinking that
they'll
everything will be there.
do that.
I don't think
Yeah, yeah. But I don't think anything's gonna happen.
it's a huge budget.
In fact,
I think it's gonna be a big help
Oh,
for
good
you
for
know,
you.
the whole
No,
state.
you don't.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, no, there's been a lot of cry
It's a good feeling when
already.
that happens.
You know, and I think that the town manager,
Yep.
Bless you.
I am guessing, is wishing that he didn't come up with the idea. Because,
Oh, that was his idea.
it was his idea, yeah. And I gotta believe that, based on the reports that I've heard so far,
Yeah.
he's
yeah,
backpedaling and kind of being like,
And
oh,
then
this
I'll-
was just an
They'll
idea, you
set
know.
up that,
Yeah.
and
So,
The same still with that. The same still with that. Yep.
Well, maybe that's.
Tim, the
another
Bruins and
one.
the Celtics are both off to stupendous starts here.
So, you know, I didn't watch that Bruins game with Montreal, but I thought, when I saw the highlights, because I didn't see it on this, I think they had it on another station.
Yeah.
But when I saw the highlights, they got robbed, because that puck that he scored and they took it away was over the line.
Yep.
And then that goal that, when Montreal took the lead,
For small organizations.
it bounced right in front of the goaltender, and he accidentally kicked it, but wasn't sure just where it landed.
Yeah.
And he moved and it went behind him. I mean, they didn't knock it in, he knocked it in
Right,
himself.
yeah.
I mean, sometimes that happens, you know, you get a bad game, it just happens. Yeah, they're playing pretty well. The Celtics are playing pretty well too. Now you just imagine what happens next year when they get a little more season, they put that Taco Fall in there who's 7'6".
Right.
Just drops it in.
You know, years ago,
Well, have
you
a
may,
good night.
in between periods, would have this thing where they'd draw a ticket number or something, and they'd throw two people, and you get to go out on the ice, and you get to shoot the length of the ice. And they put this piece of plywood up in front of the net, with a hole that's big enough for the puck to go through. If it went through, you won a car. And one night, somebody shot the puck, and it was out about that far, went through the hole, but it was just barely sticking out. They didn't give him the car. The next night they decided they reversed the decision and gave him the car.
Wow. That's about the
Thank you
closest it's gonna
very
get.
much.
Yep,
Where is that?
you may.
There's no way I could write
I was gonna
that.
say, man, somebody gets the puck in
No, I'll do
the
that.
hole and it's just.
Yeah, I know. You know, it was like
I think it's a
millimeters
good
sticking
idea,
out.
because you give a lot of information in your.
They don't do it anymore.
No, cars are too expensive these days.
Yeah, I'm sure they have insurance.
Oh,
If
yeah.
they did it.
Does Caleb have his budget book here?
I did not, but I'm sure Bob will share it with me here.
All right, when you do
I ran
have
out of the
it,
house.
these are all your materials, I updated the letter of explanation, because we had done it before the quarter was here for
Yep.
everything. So I had to go through and do that. These are your capital improvement plan details, the accomplishments,
You don't have
the
to leave
goals,
that.
and the additional
Monday
requests.
morning.
So-
I went to work Sunday night.
Okay.
Or work, I had to work
Thank you, Captain.
Caleb, there's actually.
3 in the afternoon, 7 in the morning. Sunday
There is?
night,
Right
Monday.
here.
Both days.
Just
Get on
don't
Monday
doodle
morning, I said, I'm
it.
gonna go out.
Don't jiggle it.
Doodle it.
Doodle it, yeah.
Frost on the windows. Thought I put the emergency brake on, started it. I go to walk back in the place where I'm working, I hear the noise, I turn around just in time to watch that car go down over the
So
bank.
everybody's got their book.
Oh yeah, 45 degrees. Whoop.
Where was that, Tim?
At work, where I was. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, so I had to go out, call AAA, have a winch come out, pull it out, so that was another hour and a half. Rains and pours.
My son's been going back and forth to California every week. I go over and we take him over on, like tomorrow morning, pick him up on Saturday night. Well, there's a rental car place over on the right where they store all their vehicles. I know there's a big bank there. I know one of them is right down over the bank. I don't know who drove it there, but.
I have an awful time in that driveway. I remember before they tarred it, it was wicked muddy right in the spring of the year. This was about 8 years ago, and I pulled in there. I went to go out in the morning, and I looked, and my doors were there, but my tires were right in the mud. Couldn't move. All right.
That's
Does
why I moved my
everybody
camper
want
on my right.
everybody want to get started on this, or?
Yeah.
Can we make one, well, let's try to make one hard and fast rule. Is everybody in favor of making sure we get out of here by 9 p.m.? I think an hour and a half should be, I mean, obviously, if something, we really get stuck, then we should do that.
These will be quick.
Yeah.
You can
Is
do it.
everybody okay with that?
Yeah, definitely.
You notice I said 9 p.m., not a.m.
Been there, done that.
All right.
Oh,
I'm ready.
Where are we?
All right, so we're starting the budget workshop after a break, and we are at 7:37 p.m. Okay, so we're continuing the review of the administrative budgets. We had completed several at the last meeting and stopped before the lengthy municipal building budget. And so the municipal building budget is an increase of $938 to
What page is that?
So what page is that?
Okay.
13,
Yeah, page 13.
section 3.
Okay, thank you.
All right, very good. So the 2020 budget is $49,868. And there's a very comprehensive breakdown of everything to the best of our ability with the pricing estimates that we can get.
Telephones here, does that include, is that the new system?
So there's telephone in each of the budgets, so we left it in there as it was, because the pricing is almost the same, and instead of paying the long distance and short, the local, we're now paying for the equipment and the telephone service, and it's costing about the same.
Okay.
So it's in each of the budgets.
So it's just divided out, okay.
Take a minute to look this one over, counselors.
So it's actually gone down by a few hundred?
Yes.
Oh, it went down 938?
It went down by 100, well, 40.
It depends on which budget it's in. So we have to prorate the cost as we do now. So we prorate it based upon how much is used in each of the budgets for the year.
So it went, the budget's going up $938, right? Increase. over
Yes,
last year?
yes, overall. Very good. This is always one that you can have a year in which nothing breaks down, you can have a year in which all kinds of things do.
Says, building cracks, patch if needed, ceiling, windows, exterior, walkway, steps, basement, other repairs. The tile floors have been taken care of. What about the steps to the back here?
All right, so we actually have the materials for that. Public Works is trying to get to it. But the materials that are the vinyl that will be put on the stairs so that the peeling paint is not an issue anymore.
Yeah.
That's been painted when I and John were here. That was done twice. And it just peels off after a while.
Right.
So Steve has the great idea of doing the vinyl, but somebody has got to cut it and put it in place.
Okay.
So it's pretty much a job that has to be done when the office is closed, or we divert everybody to the other walkway, which would be difficult for people to walk around the building.
Okay. So we have materials, we're just waiting
have
for
all the
Public Works, so
materials.
it's just on their job.
Yes, it's on their lengthy list.
Okay.
Okay, any questions or comments on this budget, counselors? Is everybody good with it? All right, I'm not hearing any. All those in favor of the municipal budget as written, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, municipal budget passes. Municipal building budget passes, excuse me. That's what I meant to say. Sorry.
That was a quick night.
Sorry, Cameron.
Okay.
It's been a long day.
We go home now.
It has been.
Next is community and economic development. correct?
Yes, for community and economic development, the budget has come in at $110,336, or an increase of $720, or 0.66%. And as we recall from the last meeting, there are no raises throughout the budget. All of the monies for the pay increases is in the unclassified in an account while we study all of this. So that's why the percentages are lower. We also got some good news on health insurance in that the increase will be less than what was projected. So they're sending on that data to us, but it will not be the 8% that they indicated. It's going to be much less. So that would all be adjusted throughout the budget at the public hearing.
The line 5-30, it says peak annual report $35. Is that something that appears in like the annual report book? A letter from Peak or?
It's since Peak is a nonprofit 501c3, we have to file a report at the state so that we get the license.
So it's not a report they issue to the community, it goes to licensing?
Yes.
Okay.
It's one that goes to the state.
Catherine, under 2505 contractual,
Yes.
what is the peak and grant review costs $9,500.
All right, we've left a line in there that sometimes is used and sometimes is not. If, for example, there are some projects, let's say a TIF, that is not a peak-related item, or some planning project that needed to be done, or legal issues regarding some lots that we're trying to sell to somebody, or trying to develop a project, like we've got a couple we're trying to develop, and we may hire an engineer to go look at that lot to try to help the people that want to buy it with the company that, the individual that owns it. So items list peak, but we can get reimbursed if there's a peak cost by getting the money out of the peak account.
Okay, thank you.
And we've also got something, the ASCAP license. That's the American Society of the Composers and the Artists. In that, if we play music and we have all kinds of events where we have music, all the concerts, we're supposed to have a license to do that. And the monies from the license go through two different types of group. We signed up for the ASCAP because that was the bigger one, but the money supposedly get back to all the composers and the people who wrote the songs.
Right.
It's like a royalty thing.
Yes.
Correct.
We have to do it with the bluegrass festivals every
We've got
year.
so
Can't
many
use
things.
any of it for free.
Correct, yes. There's so much music in town, we really needed to do this.
Yep.
Plus we got contacted and told we're supposed to.
The Chamber of Commerce, the SVCC, that's the Chamber of Commerce, right?
Mhm.
And then the Mid-Maine.
Yes.
Why is the Sebastopol Valley one so much more than the Mid-Maine one?
Yes, that's always interesting. What I would say is that the chamber has a lot less members, so the cost is more in order to support it. And they did cut down to a part-time director for quite some time. I left that in there. We actually haven't utilized or been involved
I
this
was
year.
saying we weren't in there for a couple of years.
Yeah, we haven't been in there this year, and I haven't paid the dues, and I haven't heard anything. So I've left it in there, but that might be something that will come out, or you might want to leave it in there.
Catherine, can you explain, under 2505 contractual other services, what would that, just to give me a general idea of what that might pertain to?
All right, it would be any other item that would come up. Let's say, we've got in here for the different items to do with the chambers and all of the video type items, but let's say we wanted to add on to the video that Peak is paying for. I wanted to buy some items with it, or I wanted to have a photographer go out and take pictures for the new brochures and things. Because we've got, we're going to get some information from the video company, because when they take this video, it's all a bunch of photos. So Gary's working on getting us a bunch of different pictures so that we could start putting together the new brochures and decide on the colors and everything.
Okay, thank you.
Does that first park assessment go on ad infinitum?
That goes on unless we get out, which would be very difficult to do. The town signed up pretty much back when it was viewed by individuals in town that this would be a good thing to do, and it did sound really good. It just has not worked out because of a variety of reasons, that the amount of money that we put in is received back. We received back a check for the amounts of the taxes, a certain percentage of the taxes after the tips are taken out for the different businesses. So the money we get back is less than the money that we put in, but we're promoting jobs, and it is a authority which the town signed up for. So the only way you can get out is if there's no debt and every single other town in the entity votes to let you out. So as you can see, we're pretty much in it.
Have other towns left?
No. Several towns have said they're going to. The debt service runs out in a couple of years, and I think that will be the turning point as to what will take place. Now, with all the money we put in, and the fact that the revenues are getting higher, the payment was up to like $14,000 now, which is good because it was a lot less, and maybe more because some lots are being looked at. So we've done a concentrated effort with the marketing monies, and I got put in charge of the the marketing committee, and this is one of the committees that I actually go to. The others, several of them, I've been very fortunate. They let me do it over Zoom or over the telephone or just send me things, and so I've been very fortunate. So this one I attend, and we've done professional studies with a professional marketer to try to get the word out, and things are looking up for First Park, definitely.
So as
And
we
with-
fill more of the lots, the reimbursement back to us will increase?
Yes, and there's several lots that are under debate for businesses, and we're clearing out a couple that have issues with them so they can go for sale too. But as more lots are sold, then there's more money from the taxes. Then we get a percentage. And
Where
the
does that-
percentage, oh, I'm sorry, the percentage is based upon our valuation per capita and things.
And where does that show up in our revenues as far as coming back in? And does it just go into the general fund, or does it go back
It goes into a
this?
revenue account. So there's a revenue account with numbers similar to this on the big, the revenue budget, which used to be one page, but now rolls out so you can actually see it. So
So does
that-
it go back into the community and economic development?
Yes, it used to be
Okay.
down. We've got it listed under economic development, First Park distribution, 014510. So, it might be, it's gonna be a bit bigger, but the amount that we got in 2019 was 14,958, so it's almost 15,000. So that one was about halfway down the big first sheet.
So we're not doing, the book ad for the SBCC. Item 25-30. We still have an ad that we buy for the,
We bought some other ads, and we pretty much have spent the ad monies there.
just different places.
Different ones, yeah.
Okay.
We list out the ones, that we use. Next year, we'll change it to a different one.
And the job fair ads, another event, was that used this year for like bicentennial advertising, or?
Yes, and we also did get involved with other promotions in the Skowhegan area too.
Okay. Major promotional piece, is that the town's portion of the peak video, or?
I was looking at that as part of the monies that we need to publicize and put together all of the different materials for the new folders.
Okay.
It's going to be more costly than that. We're getting prices now. I had prices before. I do agree. We didn't want to waste the thousands of folders that I found in a room here back when I arrived, and I've been working away on them, but I still got thousands left from a grant that we got. But we've given out quite a few. But with UTC, closing down, that's the front picture. So we need something new.
Well, we can donate them to the monthly bonfire on the water things to get the fire started. They don't put the town in a good light at all.
Yeah,
They're dated and.
They worked out good in the beginning. We only had to, you never put your email address on it. So when I got here, the email address was the old Mint thing that nobody had when I got here. So we did find with Kelly Smith nice stickers that you could, if you did it just right, you got them in there nice and you wouldn't even know. And then we got cards for them. But then on the back, the exit number changed. There's only so many stickers that you can put on.
Yeah, it's like the Etzel, it's outlived its usefulness.
All right. Well, I'm good with this.
Okay. Any other,
That, you expect that piece to be cost more?
Oh, yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
all right, any other questions on community and economic development? Okay, not hearing any, since you're ready to vote, all those in favor of the community and economic development budget as written, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, that budget passes as well.
All right, so the next budget is administrative support for departments, and this is when the two positions, a full-time request from the police department for administrative assistant, and then a request for support for all the departments for a full-time position got melded together. And so the police chief has put in his budget a request for the full-time administrative assistant, who has been, the position's been in the police office all along. So that actually is moved down from here, so it's a negative 100%, but it's actually down in the police department for the same amount.
And that person's still available to help
What are you,
department heads,
where
right?
are you looking?
Oh, okay.
Page 15.
Okay, I see all zeros.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
it
because it's
just,
in
it
the
just got
police
moved
department
from here
instead.
to the police
To the police
department.
department.
So it's in the police department for the exact amount, so it's a wash.
But that person is still available for other department heads to utilize for skills if needed.
We tried to get the department heads to work on items, but it just did not work out.
Okay, so
They-
strictly police department
They
support.
did
then.
not want to be involved with the service, so.
Okay.
All right, so if this is a zeroed out balance, based on what you just said,
So
it's a moot
personnel
point even.
services, where are they? Moved to the different departments?
It's in the police
Police
department.
department.
Police department budget for the same amount. It was a request of the police chief for the full-time administrative assistant to
Okay.
be in his department. So, and the position was already in there and being utilized by the police department, so we just put it in
Okay,
there.
okay.
Questions, folks? We can skip right over this then, right? 'Cause it's a
Yes.
zero balance.
Yes, yes, unless you want to vote it down.
I don't want to vote down any budget that's zero. That just doesn't seem
Yeah,
right.
really. Those are the ones we want to show folks.
Okay, so why don't we skip down to insurances, if everybody's all good with that? I'll ask everybody first. We all good with that, folks?
Here's my
No point in
map.
discussing zero anyway, how long we have to. Okay.
So
This
the
is all
next one
past here,
is,
so you can see it.
I'm sorry, so the next one is insurances, which is on page 16 forward here, which has all the breakdowns, because this is a netted amount for all the departments, except for Manson Park, which is separate. They pay for their insurance in a bill, so I have to take that amount out of the overall policy, and the water sewer department pays for their own. So the insurances have come in at $63,589, an increase of $3,094, or 5.1%. And so this is comprised of the big commercial insurance policy. We have in there, not everything is always covered, so we do have a small amount in case of the deductible. Some deductibles are more, some are less, usually less. Airport liability policy went up in 2019, but it's guaranteed for 3 years, so the price won't change for 2020 and 2021. And we didn't have increases in that for a long time. It's just there are less companies, so we had to go to a different company. The firefighter policy is approximately the same amount for many years, and this allows some extra protection for the firefighters that sign up for life insurance in case something happens, they can borrow against it.
So this is pretty much a contractual item that we don't really have any
Yes, and
over.
yeah, and on the other insurances, we're trying to get some credits through MMA for the workers' comp. So I've been working on that for a few days, and hopefully that will work out. If there's an opportunity to get some credits for the workers' comp program, which is all through the budget, so that would be good.
Do they offer any discounts for like not having claims or going a certain amount of time for not having claims or anything like that?
That's where we can get a dividend back. Our experience mod, which is the amount of the injuries and costs versus the everyone, is very low. One is average, and once we were way over, like at 1.24, we were kind of scandalized. But almost all years, for many years, we've been below 1, and we're now about down at 0.79, which is very, very good. It's excellent. So we would get more of a dividend back, and that dividend goes into the insurance line in the revenue account in the pages that roll up.
Any questions, folks? Questions on the insurance budget?
Do
No?
we have to make any adjustments to this, assuming we're gonna purchase our excavators and truck and all that at some point in the near future when the bids are done?
Yes, so what will
Because we'll have
happen,
additional,
yeah, what will happen is half of the year is, because we're straddling a fiscal year for the insurance policy and we're on the calendar year, half is based upon the exact amount we're paying now, and half is based upon 5% increase. So if the increase comes in at 4%, that works out fine for us. But yes, what will happen is the payment will go up. Some things they don't charge for, but that one would be charged for.
Does this cover the depot also?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And the Pinnacle, all of the the extra locations we have.
Since we had,
Mhm.
since work was done on the depot,
Yeah, I increased the amount.
the value,
You'd be shocked at how much the value is listed at.
probably not. Okay.
okay.
Okay, any other questions, councilors, concerning this budget? No? Okay, I sent you ready to vote. All those in favor of the insurance budget as written, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Insurance budget passes as written.
So the next budget is code enforcement, and that budget is coming at $44,159, an increase of $133, or 0.3 or 0.3% increase. Again, it's like the other departments, the raises are not in there for cost of living. This is a very, very basic budget. The new item in here is that we did put in a transcription program that the code officer would like to have to help him with his work.
So there's no increase shown, maybe I'm looking at the wrong one. $133 increase is what's listed in the front page, page 2. But there's a $300 transcription program put in that wasn't there before. What's the other amount that was decreased?
So we move the budgets around as they're needed. So to see that, we would go into the next one. Under tab 4, and I'll look that right up. So that is 4. Code enforcement. So the workers' comp is a lot less, and there's no rhyme or reason sometimes to these things, but it was really high for a couple of years, and now it's down, so that gave us some money. But we did put in for mandatory training, because he has to go to more courses now.
Okay.
And increase the dues. However, we saved some money in one of the other, over $400 in the workers' comp line.
Okay.
So it averaged out with the pluses and minuses.
Catherine, on all of these budgets, I know that you've left the salary piece
Yes, and we'll see that.
stable,
Yeah.
from last year.
Mhm.
So when we come to the final
Mhm.
budget approval, will those numbers change, and will it affect, because
It'll affect everything.
it'll affect everything?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, we'll have quite a few changes.
So the increase in $133 is really not going to be an increase in $133. It'll be-
Correct. Yeah, it's the increase for pretty much your operational, and in this budget, there's no benefits, so it's pretty much operational, but some of them is operational and benefits.
Correct.
But the pay is not there
Okay.
for the increase.
Questions, councilors, concerning this budget? Anybody else? No? Okay, now hearing any, I sent you ready to vote. All those in favor of the codes and building inspection budget is written, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, and that passes.
Right, so our next one can be general assistance, so we're gonna skip ahead in the book here. We'll pass the ones that have More complex outside departments here.
Is that one?
And we're getting down there to general assistance, which is on page 39. And that is the same budget, no increase, it seems to work well. A cost of 50% of reimbursement is in the revenue account for the same amount as last year and prior years.
So is this direct costs that we are paying to citizens for aid
Yes.
that they need?
It's usually less than this, but a couple of years it did get up there. We've just left it as the same amount, and we've left the revenue side, which is 50% of this figure, the same amount.
So net cost to the town is about $7,500.
Yes, and usually it's less. Once in a while, if we get above a certain amount, we don't get 50%, we get 90% of our costs back, but you have to really be spending a lot.
Is this for like heat
Yes,
systems?
yeah, it would be for heating, electrical, personal services. Generally, it will be heating, that's the big item. And we have to be prepared for that and deal with that. It always seems to come in on the weekend. So we get everybody out of bed here at the companies to go help people. And when the winter is over with and CMP starts, it has the ability to turn off the electricity is when there's a big flow too. Yeah. Because everybody has a big bill over the winter and then CMP is going to shut them off and then people come all at once.
This also includes like groceries.
Yes,
and
yes. There's
stuff
not
like
that many food items. It's been surprising. It's mostly the CMP, the electrical, and it's definitely the heating.
Yeah. Okay.
And the state reimburses us, or?
Yes, the state reimburses us for 50% of our costs that are eligible, which is everything, that we would do. And then if we get up to we spend a lot of money, you get up to a certain percentage, they'll reimburse 90%.
Okay.
And that's usually not good because that means you're spending a lot.
Usually when it comes to groceries, they usually will send them down to the food
Yes.
bank, to the pantry.
Once in a while, we have to go for the funds.
Maybe because the buildings were at a new station. That's the next budget.
Any questions on the general assistance budget, folks? Anybody want to discuss anything else? No? Okay, now hearing any, since you're ready to vote, all those in favor of the general assistance budget as written, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, and the general assistance budget passes as written.
So our next budget is municipal unclassified, and so that is where I put the salary increases. So that is coming at $258,398. It generally is around $141,000, so that's an increase of $117,216 or 83%. There's some other things that have gone up and down there. So that's on page 40, and that's comprised of your coalition of service center communities, which at first I thought this could not be of any value, but it's wonderful. You get all this information. It helps towns like us that are service centers, that are regional leaders. And so that has been very valuable. Has the KV-COG membership, which compared to the amount of money that we received from the federal government, because you have to work with KV-COG to get any of the economic development grants, we got, that's our $1.1 million industrial park expansion, and did the roadway at Industrial Park going from Somerset Avenue to the railroad tracks, rebuilt and repaved in an industrial type pavement depth. So we would have never got that if we weren't a member of KV-COG. So we could pay dues for 100 years and still not get up there. The next one is the public fire protection. This is a requirement for the use of the water from the hydrants, and is figured out when the water rate is calculated on what it should be. For many years it was like, I think a little bit over 90,000, and in 2009 we increased the water rate and it went up to 115,000 from the study.
So we're billing ourselves for the water that we're
Yes,
using?
it's a crazy thing, but it's a requirement of the PUC.
Okay.
So the retirement match account, this needs to be a lot more, because everybody that we're hiring is going into the main purse and what used to be Main State Retirement System. And so the match monies are in the revenue side of the budget, so this will be a wash. So in the revenue side is this amount, 39,060, and so we go to the bank, to the CD, and we draw out the money, put it in the revenue account, and it equals out to the expense account. And it's almost time to do that again. The next one's town report, and so we've got that listed. We found a printer that was less expensive, so that was good. Contingency, you never know what can happen. I haven't used that for a lot of years. I think I will use it this year. Oops, excuse me.
Catherine, does that accrue, like if it's in there for several years and it doesn't get used or drawn down, does that accrue?
No, everything that we have that's in the budget, unless we carry it forward because we didn't complete the project, and that's sort of just like a fund in case something goes wrong here. So what are we doing?
Right, but we've already assessed a tax for that and it's been paid.
It'll go
throughout the
to
year.
surplus if we don't spend it. It's likely this year we will.
So if we have surplus monies from previous years, does that lower the tax burden for the following year?
Yes, exactly, yes. And so any of the monies that come out of the budget, because we don't expend them, or any extra revenue goes into the surplus, and then you just take it out the next year.
Okay.
All right, continuing on. Luckily, we don't have the 53rd payroll. I never liked that year. All right. So here we go. All department pay increases and police union negotiations, and including Social Security. And so I calculated this two ways. It's a guess, but I've done multiple calculations, and this is a project I need to get to as soon as I'm able to finish the last of the 4 grant reimbursements. We have a large amount of money that we have to do all the paperwork for and get it into the federal government. And so it has to be done. And then I'm going into the pay plan again. Then the last one, educational incentive, I cut that a little bit. It hasn't been used as much. Some years it's used a lot, some years it isn't. But we pay for people to go to different classes. And I didn't put a grant match in. I figured we would get it out of some account.
Catherine, back on 50-51,
Yeah.
it says all department pay increases.
Yeah.
So we've already figured out what we're doing for,
I have 2 conceptual plans, and so this is where I need to dig into this. Contact other towns, just with those 4 grants and the fact we need money and everything happened at once. It's a massive amount of money. I've concentrated on those once I got the budget done. So then I'll go back and work on this.
But is this a percentage increase or what?
You could be a percentage increase, because I calculated it that way, and it also could be certain level positions get X dollars increase, other positions get Y dollars increase, so I got that one all figured out for every position. Any additional position that you were looking at may or may not increase. I put in what they should have, and so that should be there. In the back of the budget under tab 10 and not be here. This is all for the current positions. You also have police union negotiations in which
hasn't happened yet.
So this is just for the negotiation?
Yes, and it's best to have the monies in the account when we start out
Okay.
as a negotiating.
But does this, if we don't know
Yeah.
that piece of it, then we've not included that in the police budget right now?
Correct, it's in here, to the best of our ability. Now, I've heard some unrealistic thoughts, and so, that might not be enough, but there's only so much that we can pay. Always starts out that way.
Subject's change.
Yeah, so that is subject to change, and
Oh.
we'll have a chance to discuss.
Yes, and so
Pay
for,
increases.
oh yes, we'll have to discuss this in depth. I just have to get it all down on paper. I figured out 2 different ways. I had another way that sort of fit into that amount, so I did the best I could and put the Social Security in there.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes. So we'll need to have the police negotiation committee, in which I will send you some different dates, and then we'll figure out dates that work for all of us, so that we can give those to the union, and then set the first session.
Okay.
And we'll want to have our own session first.
Yes, please.
Yes, that's the project we started with all the documents and then went off to another project.
Yep.
So we're on to page 2 there. Or-
Grants.
So, any other questions on the municipal unclassified expenditures budget?
There's a reduction for the Historical Society.
Yes, for the last few years, they haven't spent all of their money. So they still should be all right. They had to fill up on the new propane heater, and that was a big bill. So now we're full there.
And what happens when departments have money left over? Does it stay with that department?
No, when the budget concludes on December 31st, all of the money that's left heads to surplus. It gets closed up to the surplus account automatically through a closing entry in the TRIO system in accordance with the GASB and state law. And then all the revenues get closed out, and then you've got your new unappropriated surplus, and then you start your budgets at 0, and then you enter all your budgets. So it all goes to surplus unless there is a specific project that you did not complete that you want to complete the next year. For example, that's why we've got the motion on the bicentennial. Let's say, for example, the bicentennial was in the budget. We already did a motion that will keep that for next year.
Okay.
So we would do that for anything that was necessary, and there probably will be a few things that don't get done.
Okay.
Any other questions on this budget, councilors? No? Okay, not hearing any, since you're ready to vote. All those in favor of municipal unclassified expenditures budget as written, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, and the budget passes as written.
So the next budget is Community Services, Social Services. That budget came in at $10,163, a decrease of $230, or a decrease of 2.2%. And Heather had noted where
I'm
that
sorry, I
reduction
thought that
was.
was carried from the other one.
That's okay. It's the
Then
new
we were
charts,
kind of
they look the
confused.
same.
They do, I thought it was just the next page of it.
You don't have to do it.
Catherine, under senior citizens, we give them $1,000 a year.
Yes, and
Do we
they-
still have a senior citizen group here in Pittsfield, or?
yes,
Okay,
yes, they meet at the Elks on Wednesday.
that's what I thought. I
You can
wasn't
head
sure.
on down, Bob.
We'll be there soon enough.
I might as well do something, I'm not doing anything at home, so.
And so, a number of years ago, when we had what turned out to be a recession, we went through and all of the charities and social services and community groups that were not based in Pittsfield were removed from the budget. And this is sort of a Hector Skepter thing. It does have the Egg Festival in there, but that's a community item. It's not social services. I just changed the title a few years ago. And the Snowmobile Club is in there too, so that they can get their
Is that
reimbursement.
just pass through?
Yes, they'll get their reimbursement in their line in the revenue budget from a certain percentage of the registration fees for the snowmobiles is given back to the towns. We can use it for recreation in a different way, but we've always turned it over to the Drift Busters.
They seem to work pretty hard.
They do. They are very well organized. They have a lot of volunteers, and things are in very good shape here. People always say that. So we're fortunate.
Okay. Questions or comments on this budget, folks?
No, I guess I found a new Wednesday project, so.
You want to be in charge of the $1,000, right?
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't want to be in charge of anything.
So Bob, you probably, you probably would be a favorite there. It's almost all ladies.
That's just what you need, right, Bob?
Yeah.
Alrighty, any other questions or comments, councilors, concerning this budget? Not hearing any, I send you to vote. All those in favor of the Community and Social Services budget as written, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, and that budget passes as written.
So the next one are our capital projects, which is 4505 on page 42 to 43. It has the ones funded by taxation and then the other revenue sources. And so that had come in at $138,000 and 4505 down in the capital part of the budget. That is a decrease of $2,067. And so we've got a variety of projects listed here, and this is where we set up the capital differently last year and started over again. And so we've got digitization here as our first project. I can only say that we've been getting bids for this, and people are convinced we've got millions of documents here. So we've gotten some more bids. This would be year one of this project, but there is so much that needs to be done. I can only say in the years in which, I was so good at putting all of the Post-it notes and staples in and the paper clips in that, now it's going to cost money to take them all out. But who would have thought you'd put them in the computer back in the old days there?
I need a Thursday project, so I can do that.
Bring the whole group of ladies down on Wednesday.
Well, they get a lot more than 1,000 if they.
Isn't it fun?
Yes, we had spent considerable time trying to fit in amongst duties, and probably we did it in a pretty busy period, but it got busier after that. 7 boxes of regular file boxes with everything packed in and order and everything. And then all the staples were taken out, all the paper clips and Post-it notes off, and it was digitized and put into the special account that we have in the computer. Those 7 boxes took 3 months for one person to get done. They just fit in there amongst their duties and everything. As soon as they were done with everything major, they would head off to work on this. So this is not a project we are going to do ourselves. We're going to have help. So I met with a couple of companies, and then I had Michael follow up with them and get some quotes. And so far it's still showing up to be very expensive. So
I think it's something we have to do though, because
we're going to have to do it.
we don't have any more space to save any more paper.
Yep, that would be correct. Now, I did go through when we did the move, and we did throw out considerable items. We did digitize some of it separately, but we got rid of everything that we could think of that was expendable. So now we're down to the basics here of history, which it's amazing, but I would say every 3 days we go into the files and get things out and use it, and it's very helpful.
Catherine, how about if you just say digitize going forward as a start? That's been proposed before.
Yes, and what we've done is we've been putting things into a special drive. So every time I digitize something and send it out, or even digitize it, because it'd be very helpful, I've been putting all my own documents into a certain system. So I'm trying this out to see how it would work, and then we'll set up the overall system. We've got it mapped out with the numbers and the alpha and everything, and Michael's working on that. But yes, I understand. That leaves us with these boxes, which some people don't like. You know. And they do, after a while, need to be replaced if people put heavier things on top that they're not supposed to. In the assessing office, one of the sets is going down, so we'll have to replace the boxes there. But if they've got an order, we've got a book, it says where everything is, and when we need something, we go and get it. But we do need to get some of these older boxes digitized. So that's something that's in the budget. I know that we've got so much, we may need to take it out, but even if we did a smaller amount, that might be helpful.
The police cruiser video system with the grant that the chief got, will that take any of that money out of there? Or?
That's something separate, so
Oh,
this
separate.
would still be needed for the new cruiser.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we've also got municipal building cosmetics, so this is a variety of little projects around the building. And we've got the details on the capital budgets with their numbers under tab 6, which there are quite a few of them. So this one is number 9.
Where?
Yeah, I'm headed to tab 6, the big capital budget, past all the charts, and going into number 6. In
Number 6?
Yeah, we're going to number 9. Number 6 is the one that we've got the money saved, and I put a little bit more in so that we can get that done.
Oh, the municipal building.
Yes.
Yeah.
So number 9 is on page 10 in that section. And so that's for cosmetics and appearances, and this has a number of things in here. The letters on the building need some work. We've tried to fix them, but you know, we need some new ones, at least for some. There's some painting that needs to be done. There's some grout on stairs work. This could be updating the plantings. So these would be exterior type things. There's also some painting, finishing the stairwells. We think we have all the materials for that. But we'll see. Lighting updates, and then Deborah had talked to me about the furniture fixtures upstairs being upgraded, and I agree that that should be done. We've got our 1980s items there, and before that. And we've taken care of them, but there's a few things that we can do. And I've tried to figure out how we can get a grant for this, and there is no way to do that. I can't figure out, there's nothing that's available. You're supposed to maintain your buildings. So this would be nice if it could be done, but if not, this is in here because this is something that people have mentioned. You know, just a little bit light work would go a long way, and I think it will. Mm-hmm. So then on our back under tab 3, we had that police cruiser video system, so that's the second one. We've got a police station reserve to put a little bit of money toward repair work and things to be fixed, and the flooring, I think painting, and maybe heating, cooling. We've got some open vents that need to be fixed there. Mm-hmm. All right, so that's pretty standard. We've got the ACO vehicle. This is where the police chief has indicated that the animals shouldn't really be in the police cruisers, and that there should be a separate vehicle for the ACO. And so that would be a used truck. So we have to figure that out because we've now got an ACO that sort of is stipend, that gets a set amount, and then the new police officer that needs to be advertised because none of the officers in the union were interested, and evidently the reserves weren't interested. So that has to be advertised to the public. That has police officer, ACO, and then they added detective to it. I'm not hopefully a versatile person, but then they would use that vehicle, I guess, for their animal control part.
So it would make sense if it were a full-time officer having a vehicle that could respond to those things. I don't think it makes sense to have a vehicle like that for somebody that's part-time just on call. I mean, would it stay here? It would be parked a lot. I guess.
Yes, it would be parked a lot, it would be out here, and it would be parked a lot in the line of the police cruiser.
Right,
Yeah, I understand. It was a request, so I did put it in there.
okay.
Next one is fire
What if there's a
station.
different solution, like a small trailer that you could tow behind one of the, I don't know.
Yeah, I know, I understand. We've
Like
been
an enclosed
fortunate.
trailer or something.
Yeah, just something, yeah.
Well, most of the time it's like dogs, cats, small creatures.
It usually is, yeah. This is
Even
true.
if it's
So we
a
don't need
cow,
a
they
horse
find the
trailer.
farmer.
Yeah, I'm just used to, I think I'm used to it, in most places they used to, the dog goes in the back with a cat, and usually you don't have to do anything.
Right.
You know, but sometimes they gotta go to the vet, or be
Well, they have
transported.
crates to transport.
I'm saying, we
them,
have,
too,
you can
so-
get like animal
Yes.
carriers.
Yeah, they have like 4 or 5 of them. In fact,
Yes.
they just bought some new ones.
They did, yeah.
So, I don't think, are we making adjustments to this now,
Oh,
or?
we can make adjustments now.
I mean, I think we can adjust that out. I don't think that, I mean, if we hire another officer, are they going to need that? I mean, we have
I think-
cruisers for patrol already.
Yeah, I haven't figured out, they would be in their patrol car, and then they would run back to the office and get the ACO truck in. You know, this is something the police chief really wanted and has talked about before. It's just logistically, we don't have a full-time ACO.
I think we should
But
wait
if
and
there's
see if
an
we can
officer
find
that
someone to
uses
hire
that
for it.
vehicle, who's also the ACO, is that what you're
Yes, yes,
talking about?
yes. The ACO would be on, when the officer's working, they're there as the ACO. It's sort of a combination position to cover things. And then if they're not available, we
We have an
still have
ACO.
the stipend ACO that covers the different towns if she's available.
With her own vehicle?
Yes, with her own vehicle and mileage paid.
So the police office, so it would be adding a cruiser,
Yeah,
basically?
Yes, that's true. But then, you know, if it's the truck and you'd have to have the lights and everything on it, and then you might get a call. So logistically, I don't see how this works.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
agree.
in his write-up, he just says that this will mitigate the infectious diseases that can be spread to humans if the animal is transported in the cruiser. That's his.
I would think that would be the biggest concern there, not as much as transporting them, but the fact that like,
You can pick up a
if you have
rabies
a
animal or
creature like
something.
rabies that you have to take to, you know, you have to take that to the state lab or something, or an infected animal has to be quarantined or something like that. If they're catching those, then that would be the concern. So this wouldn't be like a traditional cruiser, it would be more like a Suburban or something with
Mhm.
a hatch in the
Right.
back to
Yes,
put
yes.
the crates or something.
Well, for
in.
25,000, it's probably going to be.
Half a vehicle.
It's gonna
It's probably
die.
going to be a used truck.
I
I mean, well,
It's
maybe
gonna
it's
be
a
used.
pickup truck with a cab.
Yeah.
know,
I
maybe
even
it's-
wonder how you do that if you're transporting, you know, a rabid animal. How do you taking it out of commission to disinfect it, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, it's logistically very difficult, you know, under those circumstances.
Yeah.
So.
Maybe we need to ask
I think we need
about
to
that when we get to
and
the
see
police
what
department.
we've transported in the past. I mean, we haven't had any rabid animals that I know of in the last 5 years.
There was a raccoon out on Heartland Ave.
Yeah.
Yeah, every year there's a raccoon running around, but
There was
that
a-
usually doesn't go in the police car.
There was a dog in our area that got bitten by a skunk, or, you know, the dog attacked the skunk
Mhm.
actually. And the report came back positive for rabies in the dog, or in the skunk, and they put the dog down
Mhm.
actually, so.
I mean, in the past, the ACL that we contracted just took care of that, and we never had to deal with it.
Oh, you throw it in the back of the public works truck, but.
Yeah, or something like that, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah, maybe that could work. The public work. I don't know if that's possible.
I think
It's
might
not
be-
that they want
Put
it
it in
in
an
there.
airplane, okay?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, fly it somewhere. I have a trailer.
Should probably use a corporate jet.
All right, that's joke's over now. Okay.
All right.
So
All right.
maybe we'll just ask the chief about that when we get to the police.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
thinking we can take it out of there or allocate that amount to something else that we think is worthy, that is,
Yeah, I think we should get his input for just a minute.
right.
This one's a debatable one.
So what are we talking about? Are we talking about leaving it in there for now?
Yeah.
And then later on,
Question
come back and
mark.
address it?
Yeah,
think
so.
no question mark.
Yep.
All right. So the next one's fire station reserve, and there's plenty of work that can be done in the fire station. So we should allocate some funds toward that. The next one is the airport obstruction removal. And so
Which is,
this is $49,000.
Yeah.
Now, normally, Public Works rushes down at the last minute because we'll be contacted by FAA, MDOT, we think all the trees are okay. And they'll say, no, they've gone out and found more. And so then they have to go down into the swamp in the summertime, which is not good. And we were so fortunate we have employees that will do this and volunteer to do it, and didn't have to do it, which saved, so that we can get our grant money. So what we should do, and we've asked MDOT to provide us with a map ahead of time of exactly the areas that we should cut, and that we will just go out to bid, allocate the monies, and do all the work and cut everything, and be done with this for 5 or 6 years. This is the plan. So we can't get any grant money for these areas because we already were given a grant to cut this originally, so you can't get another grant to do maintenance.
Then one of the other problems too that we're having is that if the state comes out and does their like little site plan and they see that there's a tree in the way, then what they'll do is they will issue a NOTAM, which basically shuts off night approaches to the airport, so you can't approach at night. And they've kind of used other airports that had that issue, but then the problem would be, you've got companies that use the airport a lot at night that they would not be able to land there at night. So we're hoping that this type of project will just be do it once every set amount of time spaced out and try to get in there and really hog it out so then you can get in there maybe with some other piece of equipment and do it, because it is a tough area to keep cut down. That's for sure.
And our permits require that the ground be solidly frozen in order to bring the equipment in. And so these last few winters, that has not been always the case, except at a certain point, and that has to be when Public Works is available, and it's hard to have this work. So let's just cut it professionally. We did this back in 2008, and the state paid for it in the federal government. And we were fortunate because it had been cut before, but we're not going to get a third cut. We have to do it ourselves. And so we would put this up to bid. This was a guesstimate based upon the price that we paid back in 2008 for what I think the area is, and it was more than this, so then I just prorated it. So we're going to put this out to bid to see exactly what we would get for pricing for next year, and also put out a bid for the cutting of all the brush and trees along the town-owned poles, electric poles to the water plant. So that needs to be done. We did it several years ago, and that was good. Public Works used to try to do it, and it's dangerous. A company can come in and whip through that, and they'll do it the way they're going to do it, and get that done for a fraction of the time it would take us because we're following all the safety requirements.
Where is it?
So this would be down to the Detroit water plant.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you go down Peltoma Avenue. We own the whole electric line from the transfer station down to the plant. And so it's not owned by CMP, so we have to cut it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of trees down there. But right now it looks pretty good. The trees are getting really close, and there's one that's getting ready to lay on the line. We might as well just cut it all back, get it all cleared out. So that's a separate project in the water budget. But we could bid these at the same time, and maybe we could get a good price for the winter. And this is where we talk to, somebody, I don't think that will happen, but somebody could bring horses in too to get into that area. I think we'll get a company. So the last one is the library capital reserve fund. And so last year we had cut that, and they really have a lot of projects they want to do, and they do have money. But we should add to that one too, because we have a big, beautiful library, and we should keep it that way. Then we're down to the items that would be funded by in Part B by a capital improvement bond or loan. And so I put in the amounts that the departments requested. It's very doubtful we're going to go out and get a loan for $1.36 million. So we need to trim this. Hopefully it would be one for $700,000 or $6,000 again, because that seems to be available to be used so that we can use the Pittsfield Future Fund monies and then pay that off and not have it affect the taxpayers, at least down to
147.
yeah, down to year 2027. If we just have 2 loans. If we have 3 loans, then we'll run out of money in the account. But for a while, this is very good. We're very fortunate we have the Pittsfield Future Fund. So the projects we have there is the generator is $50,000 is the bid that we got. It's a few dollars over. We're going to bid that out again, try to get something a little bit better. But we do need to straighten out the generator downstairs. I know there's all these differences of opinion between a variety of people. We've had an electrician come in, and we need to get a newer generator, not the old one that's not sized properly. And that means electrical work to hook that up, so that we can have more items hooked up in here instead of the few that are. Then that way we can operate and do work if the power's up for an extended time. We've got in here replaced the 1989 Ford dump truck. This vehicle has been having some problems the last couple of years, starting to cost money. That's an estimate from Steve, $180,000. We put back in here, Steve didn't put this in here, but I did, on the major ditch that's up by the hospital where the massive amount of water runs down and is soaking people's lawns there. That is of concern to people. That is a large project that requires a DEP process for us to go in there, because there's just so much water, so much little wetlands, and so we have to buy the pads and everything.
That's the one that he talks about, the guy who's really squawking about.
He's
He's
very
mowing his lawn and
unhappy.
getting stuck.
He
Yeah.
has been stuck and been hauled out multiple times. So that is a problem, and it is our problem. It's our water. It's just a setup there. That's where all the water heads down. The next one is where Steve had put in $500,000 for overlay paving and base paving last year for $1 million, and then that was cut down to $500,000. The sidewalks, Steve hadn't put that in there. I think he just was very busy, so I went through and did some calculations and did a sheet and got pricing from some engineers and some companies, so I have an idea, so that this would take care of several places. And so that's number 30. Let me look at that one for a moment.
And that would be
Under
a
tab,
certain amount every year,
tab
right?
6. Yes, we're going to have to do that. We need to address the sidewalks. So there's a number of places that work could be done.
What do you, was that, Catherine?
Yeah, that would be on page 31, under tab 6. And so this is sidewalk replacement for strategic places on heavily traveled roads. And so we talked about the history of this, went through, we do have some money in reserve. And so there's sections beside the municipal building where we have to fix the sidewalk. It's moved so much in the last 2 years that it's a major tripping hazard by a building, and it is used a lot. So far, nobody's fallen down there, but I did the measurements with the code officer. Connor's sidewalk, located along the municipal building, And then the Connors sidewalk by Vittles and Pop-On-Overs, that has all pulled apart. There's some places that have been dug. It's concrete. We were proposed to make it asphalt. We have the granite curbing for it and the towns. And then the sidewalk behind the back of the municipal building, that has all started to heave and go up and down. It needs to be fixed. I mean, I've gone over it for years, and you know, with the number of people that park in the parking lot and go over to People's United, which is now Bar Harbor, we've been fortunate nobody's fallen down. It needs to be fixed.
So you're talking about the actual sidewalk along the edge
Yes.
of the building, not the walkway coming out of the building?
Correct. Yeah, it's
Can
all
we-
the sidewalks.
If we put it out to bid that we have somebody do that sidewalk and the entrance to the building, I mean, it makes sense to do them
Yeah, we could put that
all
in
at the
as,
same time.
yeah, we could put that in as, do the sidewalks and then put the option in, you know, so we get two prices.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
That's the south end of the building, right? This way?
Directions are not my high point.
That's north.
So this is the south?
That's north.
I'm just thinking,
Southwest.
originally
Southwest part, yeah.
that entrance was supposed to be like concrete heated walkway.
Yes.
But if the whole thing were black tar, and if it's shoveled and then that's the south side, it's less likely to have ice on it. If it's gonna be in the sun and the dark color versus,
Mhm.
so that,
It does like
Heated
it's
part might
ice,
not be
it
needed.
does like it's ice there. That's why he's proposing they be heated, which would really be a luxury.
right. Nothing like heating the great outdoors.
No,
Can
I
only
know.
imagine what people are safely.
Yeah, so definitely, the brick used to be wonderful, but I will tell you, when it's icy,
It's not.
my first experience is I started out of the building and went sliding down right into a vehicle. I've slid under vehicles in the older days, so then I learned how to address this. I would just I would come out with a bag of salt and just make my way to the car, and I had a bag of salt in the car, and then I make my way in. But when there's ice storms you're coming here at odd hours, that is, you cannot stand up on it.
No.
Yeah. But we can conquer anything, so we conquered that. So I think that whole back area on the side of the building, and take Connors, because that's an aggravation on how it looks, and all the crumbling on the side. Somebody's gonna.
It is a trip hazard.
Yeah, I have stuck my foot in there and gone around, so we're fortunate nobody's got hurt. It needs to be fixed. It's sort of they all sort of went all at once. So that's the sidewalk. So back to the tab
We
3.
already have $26,000
Yes.
in reserve for it, and then we're looking at adding another 20,
Yeah.
where'd it go, 25?
Yes.
So that'll give us like 51 total.
Mhm.
Is that, you said you got some pricing, so is that enough to do one of those projects this coming year?
So this is for the sidewalks. It looks good to do all of it.
That would be
just-
enough to do those two sections and the back?
If we do asphalt, if we do concrete, well, you know, we won't have enough money. So we would do as much as we can. If we did these as options, and then some contractor come in and says, well, I'll do the whole thing, it's gonna be less expensive.
Well,
And you never know what the pricing will be. The one thing, because I got this from 3 engineers, they said that there's been just bizarre pricing in which things are 3 or 4 times what they thought they were gonna be. And we also heard that from the architect that came to look at the theater this summer. The pricing has just been crazy on all these jobs, not paving, but all these other jobs, in which the projects that they did out this year were just so outrageous that most of their people they were working with didn't do them. So hopefully, if we bid these things out in February, my favorite time, or early March, that will help us.
and do we have to have engineering done on all of that, or are we just replacing what's there?
If we replace it with what is there and we have basic specs, we should be okay. Yeah, because it's already there. And we would do just a basic list that an engineer could look at. I don't think, you wouldn't have to have plans.
Okay.
We did it this way, when we did the small areas of Somerset and a couple of other places in the vicinity of the downtown. We did it ourselves and it worked out fine. If we were gonna do something the length of Somerset Avenue, which we did back in 2014, I believe, we would wanna get you know, the specs and the plans and everything. But I think these are little ones, we can do them.
Okay.
So the next one, under tab 3, transfer station MSW compactor, very old compactor, so recycling transfer station I put in for funding for that, and has funding in the recycling reserve. And then number 40 is the other half of the grant match that's required to do the projects at the airport. We had 90,000 in there last year, but to help out the budget, divided that down. And that worked out good because the whole project got phased, so we could start saving up the money over a number of years. And then actually, if we had to, might be able to be cut as long as we put money in the 2021 budget. Then we've got Part C, where we got a variety of special revenue trust accounts paid for the items, so they're not paid for by a loan, they're not paid for by taxation. And so this is where the back walkway, I added some money so that we could have a more reasonable price. When this was put together as an estimate, Public Works was going to do it. That means that their labor and costs would be charged to the Public Works budget, and we were just paying for all of the materials. So the price that we had was just too low for a contractor to bid for it, because there was no labor in it, because they were going to do it themselves, but they were too busy. So that's the one we got the funky over $50,000 price, which was outrageous. And so we're going to rebid that out. So I put some additional monies there for that, for the back walkway.
So we have monies from this year's budget.
Yes,
To
that we're
put
going to carry
that
forward.
already. Okay.
Yes, going to carry forward. I put more money, this is the amount that would come out of the reserve account. We need to budget that in instead of just go get it out of reserve. So this is the monies that we would put, that you just looked at the price of, I think it was $26,032.66. So I rounded it off that we would use up $25,000 to put with the other monies that would be in the loan. Then the municipal parking lots, we've been very fortunate. We've been able to fix 3 areas of the parking lots, and now we need to proceed down to the area where Klein Smith and the Elks Park, that is owned by the town, which is across from the historic depot. The town owns that one.
There's a big hole where the drainage ditch is that I hit every time I get that.
Yes, yes. And we can also, when we do this, we can also work on the roadway if we need to too. Yes. So that area needs to be fixed. So we have parking lot monies, and we should do some paving. We've got the cemetery mower in that the cemetery sexton would like to get. So he was going too long and trying to save monies, and the mowers get harder, older and older. So we're going to update those more quickly. So that money comes from a trust account. The Powers Cemetery needs to be expanded. There's a family that wants to buy lots that are part of the family, so they can go into that cemetery. So we have a lot of land up there. We need to extend that, dig things up, put the proper material in, and smooth it all over, so we can have additional lots. And that should be done because it's filled except for one small area. And then we got the cemetery, where the cemetery section has to beg, borrow, and I'm not going to say steal, but try to get a vehicle to use to haul things around in to do the work. So he's went out and got bids from everywhere, and so he's looking at a certain type of pickup truck. For $30,000. I mean, the vehicles aren't available. They do the best they can to accommodate.
He's using his own part of the time.
Yes,
And that's all, we had asked him to take that all out of the cemetery funds.
Yes,
Right.
yes, that would come out of the cemetery monies. So that Part C is all funded by reserves and cemetery monies.
I really do think he should have his own pickup truck because he's using his own personal truck half the time, and then he's borrowing from other people, and you never know how that's going to go down there. I mean, you got to have the material to work with. So.
Yeah, it used to be easier. There was an extra vehicle, and they all shared it. It needed to be put out for surplus sale. and went away.
Oh yeah, that little Ranger.
Yes, that thing was dead when I came and they kept resurrecting it. I told them they're not spending any taxpayer dollars on it, so they would rush over and Public Works could always fix it.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that drive around for a long time. And I mean, I don't know, is there there's probably no way, I mean, anything that you take out of the cemetery fund is gonna be exclusive use of the cemetery, so there's no way we can
Yes.
combine
Correct.
some,
I think it
Nobody
would
gets
be,
to borrow his pickup truck.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
somebody will borrow the pickup truck. If we try to combine it, it's not gonna look good for the audit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to keep it separate.
yep.
But what will happen is they all borrow each other's stuff, so
Oh, yeah.
they'll do that. So the water sewer capital, I skipped over the theater part, I just left that in there so you had a placeholder, but I don't see anything happening there. From taxpayer dollars. So part E is water sewer capital. And so if there has to be a water rate increase to do these projects. So there's a variety of water and sewer projects that were identified that are in the water sewer capital improvement plan. So there's a few items on the list that explain out exactly what these items are. So let me skip to that. I have it all memorized at one point. There's just too many projects in here. Okay, water department. Water department is on page 60. These are the projects 60 through 82. So we've listed them all out with the different years and everything. And because we haven't had a water rate increase, we haven't done these items. But we do need to get a new vehicle for the water sewer department because we put out the surplus sale, the junk one.
See,
Yeah, so we've done some repair work to the current vehicle, and so that is working better than it has for years. So that was good, but we do need another one because we're going to have to address the water budget and the whole water setup, which we're working on now, as well as the sewer water billing, which is going to be a little study at the end of the month with all of our associates. We do need to have a second vehicle. And then there's a whole variety of projects. The water storage tanks can be painted. We do have the funds in the reserve account. We've saved that for years. But if we're going to do anything else beyond that, we do need to have a rate increase. So that's something we're going to have to work on. It usually takes 3 months to do. So the budget that we put in for water was a increased one. However, if we do not do the rate increase, or do it a different amount, that's what we would spend up to. We would spend up to the revenue that we get in. And then the sewer was put in at the same amount, and we have another request into the USDA to another individual to take the $85,000 out that we would send to the USDA prior to January, when it's taken out of our bank account, and keep that so that we can use that to pay off a new loan that we would go out for, a low interest loan, or some other projects that we could finance ourselves. So these projects are in here. They are going to be done if we have the money, and we of course would decide at the time this is just a sampling. Something else could come up. And so you've got those also listed for hydrants and everything on page 63. And then the sewer department is on page 64 with a variety of items too. And so we're studying the different projects that we're going to need to put out to next year to file for the low interest clean water revolving loan program. So we're looking those over now for the sewer department, and that's that whole process when we go through and pass the ordinance, we fill out all the paperwork, we file the application, it goes to the Maine Municipal Bond Bank or USDA. I think in this case it would be the Maine Municipal Bond Bank this time. and then they vote on our projects, and then we come back and we get the loan and everything. So if we can free up the $85,000, then we can do that without changing the sewer rate. And the sewer bills seem high enough anyway. It's the water that is having an issue. Well, we'll have an issue if we try to do some projects. And then we've got some combined things in section F. And so I've tried not to combine anything again because it's very hard to do the motions for the ordinances for the budget. And usually they're smaller items. They can put them in their budgets. Boy, we're going over everything we're going to do next week. And then down under Part G, these are the projects, they're placeholders that we've placed on the capital improvement plan. So if any of the items came in, we would have allocations there along with the allocations in the other year. And of course, the Main Street Sidewalk project would hopefully go forward here. We're still after the state to get them to sign a contract with a design engineer and just design the road project so we can then design the sidewalk project.
So the surveying is done?
Yeah, it's been done for a while, and it's so backed up at MDOT, which I understand, but they were not going to design it themselves. They promised to hire a contractor and just have it done.
Who promised? The state?
The state, yes. So we're still working on trying to get that done here. I'll be in a pest, but we do need to proceed forward here so that we can get the work done next year. I did get a 2-year amendment for the CDGB grant, but I'm not going to get an amendment after that, so this really needs to be done. And if you look at the condition of Main Street, you can see further down by MCI, I mean, the pieces are all coming off, little tiny skinny mix there. All right, so that's the capital improvement plan for 2020. The part that we'd be voting on now, at least the preliminary part, would be Part A, funded by taxation.
I think aside from asking the police chief about the video system and the ACO vehicle, then I'm good with that.
I just had a quick question, and it's minor, but I was just kind of curious. When we're talking about the airport obstruction removal, is there any, when they send a company in there and they cut down, is there any good trees in there that can be sold for firewood, for whatever?
Well,
or is it just junk?
I think it's mostly just junk right now. I mean, I think it's stuff that is, you know, there was, back when it was first cut in 2000-ish, 2003-ish, or 8-ish, or something like that, there was some good wood in there that I think the contractors actually came in and saw, and they hauled some of it out. So that kind of decreased, but I think now it's mostly just, you know, just
I figured that's what it
just
was,
like
just junk stuff.
It's the
stuff that-
alders and ones like that, and when you cut
And we can
it,
never get a permit to haul it out,
Yeah.
the small stuff, so we've been just cutting it down and laying it down.
and then you gotta
Chip
go in
it to
there.
help kind of like suppress anything coming up.
There's a permit for it, but the permit's very specific about what you can do. And I'm not sure what the permit says about chipping, but.
Because that might help reduce the amount of time between it growing back, as if you can chip it and use that as a mulch to keep those seeds from germinating. It'll kind of
Yeah,
reduce
we've
the
gotta
amount
have a
later
plan
on.
for this, because each time, you know, we think we've got it done, you know, they fly over and find.
Well, what happened a few
Come
years
on
ago? Yeah, what happened a few years ago, or what's been last winter when they did some of the work, the town rented like an excavator with like a wood chipper on the end of it.
Yeah.
And they just went down through and just they splint. I mean,
It's messy.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine because it doesn't need to be pretty down there. It just needs to be knocked down, and that kind of chipped it up some, and that made quick work out of it. They cleaned
Yes.
some pretty big sections up with that. You know, it's like a, I don't know what type of head it is on it, but I think you know what
Yeah,
I'm
it's got a
talking
special
about.
thumb name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can only reach so far is the problem, because it's not solidly frozen.
I was gonna say, don't we have one of those now to do the side of the roads ourselves? Didn't we buy one, like the brontosaurus thing that goes along and like eats everything?
Yeah,
It wasn't really what that was supposed to be
I don't
used for,
think
but
that can go down in there.
There's a guy that he's doing some work for the Amish lot that abuts us, and he goes in and he has like, it's almost like a skid steer, and it has this little thing on the
Yeah.
front of it that like eats trees, and then it just flattens everything out. It just, there's nothing left. It's just all chipped up in front of it, and it takes him like, he can do like an acre a day.
how big a tree can you take through it?
I want to say like 8 inches
That
or
would be
so.
the type of,
His
that
name's
mine is the
Terry
type of stuff
Bell.
we're
He's
talking
from
about.
Tide Mill Farm. They have a whole logging operation up in Edmonds.
He might be a good guy to talk to.
Yeah, so if you, do you know the name?
Yeah, it's Terry Bell. I'll try and find his card.
No, that would be good.
That might be the perfect scenario, somebody like that.
Good.
He might be a lot cheaper than what we're thinking if it's just one piece of equipment and a guy who can run it for, I don't know what they get per day to run that, but
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yes, if we put it out to the FAA specs, we're in trouble.
Oh,
yeah.
so there's nothing, no marketable timber on there, it's just junk mostly?
Yeah.
Okay. Be like the DOT, go out and plant a bunch of trees and then 15 years later cut them all down, plant some more, you know?
These just grow automatically. Yep.
They take all the good trees and leave the dead ones.
Yeah,
All right, so
So-
part we're voting on is just the taxation.
Right,
Just
and
taxation
Heather,
part.
could you repeat what you said, Heather, because I only heard half of it.
Oh, there's a guy up
No, regarding the
Which
budget.
ones, Heather? They have questions with.
Oh, I flipped my page.
The video.
It was
Cruiser
the
video
video
system.
camera, whether that's the same
And the
system
ACO.
Yes,
that he
it is
asked
the same.
for, and the
Vehicle.
ACO vehicle were the two things that I had.
Okay, so
questions
what
Yeah.
about the video system?
So the video should be the same, let's look that one up. The video is the same exact thing as we got before.
That's
So-
equipped
So
to
that
do.
one is
So is
number
it in here
10.
twice, is that what you're saying?
Well, he
Yeah,
just
so
got
there's
the
two of them,
grant.
2 vehicles to have 2 of them. The system that he's got is something totally different from this.
That's what I wasn't sure about.
Yes, this new one is totally different, it's something really modern. We get an allocation through the Somerset County, and they can either apply for it this time, instead of them applying for it and then we applying for them, we just did the paperwork to go in with them, which is like the paperwork they did and did it as a combo here. There's an allocation for each town, and some of the towns don't take it, so we applied for it. So this one for the police cruiser video system is number 10. So number 10, I thought was the same exact thing. To add video recording system to new cruiser and officer body
What
camera.
page?
It's on
Page 11. Tab 6.
And there may be a certain amount that could be taken out, we'll just have to double
Yeah,
check.
you said that he's researching grants here
Yeah,
for it.
yeah.
Well,
There
he,
may be a certain amount to be taken out, but I don't think it's the entire
That
amount.
comes from Homeland,
right, the email that he sent around this afternoon was that, or yesterday, I don't know what day it was.
today.
It was 14,000 and change, and it was the video system for a vehicle and body cameras, and they tie in to each other, so it was like
Correct.
a complete system. So I wasn't sure if this system was the same thing, because it's about the same cost.
Okay.
that body camera that body camera's recording went onto a system is what it is.
Right.
So
Because-
it happened live, if I stop you, that, what's on that body camera is being recorded.
So they could see what's in front of the vehicle and what the
Right.
officer's doing at the
Correct.
same time. So,
Yeah.
but we approved 7,000 for 2019, so
Yeah.
there's a little bit in there already.
Mhm.
And then he just got the grant for 15. So I just wanted clarification from him.
Okay,
On those
so
two
why
things.
don't we go along with, if it is not covered by the new grant, then we'll leave
Leave it
this
in there.
in here.
Yeah.
And if it is covered by the new grant for the correct amount, we'll take it out.
Okay.
So that can be what we agreed to.
So if we take the vehicle out, how do we deal with the ACO issues?
I think that's a big question mark. That's kind of a big logistics.
Well, I think, we've had ACO and we've had rabid animals and we've had all these things for a really long time. So how have they been dealing with them and how do the other towns that Connie
Well, that's what I was-
services deal with it? I mean, does she have like a fleet of vehicles from each town parked in her yard and she just pops in whichever one town she's going to? I know, it doesn't
Sounds
seem
practical,
practical.
Sounds practical.
Yeah, it's a big yard.
Okay.
So we gotta get some clarification from the
Right,
chief
I just
on
want
that.
some clarification on
Yes,
that.
yeah.
But I'm fine on voting for it and then,
And then we'll get the-
so we have to move along.
All right, any other questions? I don't want to cut you short. Okay, none? All
I
right.
did stop talking, it's already 9:09.
Yeah, we just got one quickie here. Once you vote.
All those in favor of the capital improvement budget part A as written, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, and capital improvement budget part A, funded through taxation, as written, is passed.
Oh,
We can adjust it.
But it can be, but we might
Subject
change
to-
it.
Yes,
coming
yes,
back.
it's all subject to this.
Okay.
All right, so now we're down on debt service, the last item. So for debt service, we have the budget coming in at $270,544, an increase of $82,964, or a 44.2% increase. And this is because we have a new loan in here, and that new loan being the payment that will be required for the 2019 CIP or capital improvement plan. And that is the first item on page 44, 4505 CIP paving projects 2019, the principal and the interest. Those are the amounts of the new loan that will have to be paid. And then in the revenue budget is where the monies will come out of the Pittsfield's future fund, be taken out of the bank, go into the revenue budget, and then equal this out. The next one is waste transport or lease. The last payment will be in 2022. So we've got that, the exact
It's
amount in
almost
there.
done.
The fire pumper, the last payment will be 2026, and so that's the amount there, principal and interest. We have the highway paving bridge project, and so this was for the Sebastopol culverts. And so that is in the budget for its exact amount. And then we've got this lease for the excavator that hasn't taken place yet, and I don't know if that's enough or not, but that's what was submitted by water and sewer. So that's what we put in there. And then we've got tax anticipation note interest, and that's in case we need to have that. And as you recall, the surplus is going down. However, the revenue sharing now is coming up, so we'll be able to keep more surplus in the account and not spend it out because the revenue sharing will be coming in, so that's good. And then we've got, you wanted to make sure you had some paving monies, so I just left some monies down there in case, we're going to do additional paving or going to do a specific project. So that is a little bit up in the air. But is there in case you need it? That's something you all wanted to do last year. And so I put that in there so that we won't be doing amendments at the end of the budget process to deal with the paving.
You're talking about 45-20, the tax anticipation note interest.
I'm sorry.
No,
Is that the
45.
paving
The one
part?
below it, paving loan.
Paving loan.
Yeah, because down there, this is like a placeholder,
Okay.
so that you actually have some real paving money.
Okay.
And then maybe a project that we want to do, we might get such a great price on the sidewalks, we wanted to go do another sidewalk or something.
Right.
Questions on this one? Anybody have any questions concerning the debt service?
Be kind of interested to know, I mean, how much debt service, are we about average, like for the percent of our?
The auditor says we have, well, of course, we have a lot more capacity for debt, but some towns have so much debt that it's kind of scary. Right now, our bond rating is really good. It's the AAA. Until we get ranked again, it might go down because our surplus is less. But the revenues are going up. So with our water and sewer, we have a lot of debt. If you don't count the water and sewer, because you state that that's a separate business entity, our municipal debt service is not, it's very good compared to other towns our size. And bigger places, the bigger you are,
Right, the more debt you
yeah,
have.
you have, and not in proportion, it's just so much debt for the cities and everything. I'm not somebody for debt, but we're not gonna get any work done unless we do it. And we're fortunate that for the CIP, at least for a number of years with the paving and capitals, we can pay for it because we have the monies in the Pittsfield future account. But down the road, we're gonna have an issue with that.
All right, any questions on the debt service budget, folks? No? Okay, not hearing any, since you're ready to vote, all those in favor of the debt service budget as written, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, and the debt service passes.
Right.
And
So we got through all the ones that we have. So looking at the agenda for the workshop on 11/12, we've got the additionals, which are going to be detailed here. We could move up some of these other ones from the workshop on the 26th, and I could work that out with the departments if you want to do that.
everybody good with that?
Yeah, there's a number of them that don't have department heads, so they should be easy to move up. And then if we're going to move up the department heads, of course, we would let them know.
But
So
I'm
we-
fine with that, because I'm not going to be able to make it next week.
Okay.
Yep. So that would be good for me, anyways.
Okay, so if we move them up, we're definitely having a meeting.
Oh, sorry.
If we're gonna move them back, like move the additionals back to, I don't know, another meeting, the additionals are gonna take some time to get through.
Oh, yeah.
So the next time we meet on the budget is a workshop, not after a council meeting.
Correct, yes. The 12th, I could move up.
I'd say move up as much as we can.
Okay,
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
you
Okay.
mean like me,
Because we're gonna spend a lot of time talking about personnel
yeah, the
and
additional.
wages
Yeah.
and the additional, so I think the next workshop,
Okay, I may not
Should-
get for next week, because of that grant, the paperwork that must be filed to get all the money. And it's the fourth one, and then I'll be done with this. I may not get all the patients done, but we definitely have all the information on the additionals. And then we can take care of some of these, like street light, airport, buildings
So,
and
right.
grounds. There's
Whatever
a
you
bunch of them.
can.
There's a bunch of them.
whatever you can move up, I say move it up.
I think it's gonna be crucial because right now it all looks really good, but once you get in here, we got this massive increase here, and you got all these additionals. Some of which are good and some of which, are in there simply because people said they wanted them, so I put them in. That doesn't necessarily mean they should be in there.
Well, we can move up streetlights, airport, building and grounds, and cemetery. That's all pretty straightforward. Even recreation is pretty
Yeah, we may be
straightforward.
able to do recreation.
Library.
Library, we might be
We
able to do
did
that.
community and social services
Yeah.
tonight, and
Yeah,
we did
we did.
municipal and
Yeah, we
classified
did that,
already.
so. And we reserve the right to move these around, but if we had somebody that had a true department head here that's in budget, we would let them know.
We could
want
probably
to.
What
even
is today,
do
the
fire and
6th?
police and then say public works and theater for the 26th.
we could do fire for sure.
We usually put the outside ones all together, but we don't have to, it's just
When-
tradition.
What do you mean?
We usually put fire and police with the highway.
Right,
Well, police is gonna take communications, animal control, and
Yes,
police all off
true.
the docket all at one
Okay,
time.
I'll work it out to move up what we can.
I just don't wanna leave really big ones together, like theater, public works, police and fire all at once.
Yeah, those are gonna
I
be
think that they're
long.
gonna be extensive discussions and gonna want them all in one night.
Yeah.
I'm all good with that.
Only if they come up with a plan.
I'm all good with that.
Discussion.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have a plan because the budget is too big. And if you go on the additions, I think you could cut those in half pretty easily, but then cut them down from there will be difficult. Yeah. Okay, we're on our way here.
Alrighty. I would say that we are done.
We adjourn?
I move that we adjourn. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor of adjournment, please signify by
Aye.
saying aye. And I don't even hear a nay. Yes, sir. Sign stuff.